Yo guys, how's it going? Today we're going to do some more work on Lenny, the Abominant. And it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a fun day with a lot of airbrushing. We've started arranging some colours. We have some inks, we have some acrylics. We've got loads of stuff out. And I'm 100% not sure that this is going to work. This step's going to be great. This step will be banging. But I'll explain the following step in a minute. And that might not work at all. Like 100% at all. So what we're going to do is we have a mixture of black, blue and purple, and across the vertical axis of our diorama we've got essentially our main protagonist, Lenny, with his buddy Carl. It has to be Lenny and Carl versus the reactor. We've got those sort of facing off, and what will happen is we'll start with some purple tones towards the bottom. As we get further up the miniature all the way to the very top, we'll build in some blue. So you go a good transition across, that's probably what, about 6 inches worth of space. So nice, subtle, soft transition. Once we've done that across everything, AJC72 getting his sub on for 7 months. Absolute superstar. We'll say hi to the chat in a second in full though. Thank you very much, bro. Once we've done that, this is where it's going to go possibly extremely wrong. We've got 2 avenues from there. The first one, the one that I think I'm definitely going to do, is take some very dilute white ink. And we'll start bringing up all of our light sources. So things like these lights here, the palm scanner, obviously some of the reflective, like the light cast by these, the reactor, we've got some lights up here and so on. All of those things, we will put down a white filter over. And then the plan is, and this is where it could be really, really bad, and where I imagine this is going to look like absolute toss for a bit. Then the plan is to paint. If you imagine we've got like this bubble of white going on, paint on like the inside circle of that the actual things that you'd see. So for instance, this bit will be lit up, so we'll paint these bits in silver. We'll paint in some rust, we'll paint in most of Lenny, for instance. But it'll be rough. It won't be super detail, because then the following step will be to layer some extremely thin glazes over that with the airbrush to create the furnace heat effect, to create the green light effect, to create this little red light or whatever we're going to do these colors. And that could go catastrophically wrong. But that's the plan. Video graphics, cheers for the follow and welcome to the stream. In the chat, we've got Viking, Crooked Grin, whose alarm woke him up as planned. Comradson, AJC72, AJ Sadler, Snake Plissken, Leech342. Des is here, lurking in the background as well. Mada, what up? Good morning to you all. So, without further ado, Her Theory, Video Graphics, MC6117. See, everyone's saying morning now. Lord Gitface, what up, dude? Got Blood Angels transfers all over my desk. Got Blood Angels all over my desk. Started putting together the Impulsor. And this is the first one, just a big tangent, this is the first one that I've put together that hasn't had massive gaps in these sections. So, G-Dubs, you're getting it right. Keep it up. You guys are doing well. Kids woke me up. The alarm is literally there to remind me of you. Brilliant. Brilliant. J. Stuart Wild, I nearly got your name completely butchered again. But this is going to be for a how to paint marine tanks. Probably YouTube, maybe Patreon video. That one, actually probably Patreon with that. That'll probably be a Patreon one. How to paint marine tanks. So, let's get to it. Airbrush Flow Improver on deck. We'll start off with all of the bottom tones. And so we'll mix in some brown with my darkest of these purples, which is going to be... No, I just said brown, but I meant black. Was that this catastrophic wrong in the hey guys, watch this category? I don't know what you're referring to. But it's going to be... It's going to be... very possibly the worst thing that everyone has seen. We'll see. So we go 4 to 6, black to purple. Otherwise known as 2 to 3. Jump on here, you're predicting a disaster. That's a normal stream. Speaking of normal streams, how does a normal game? This is still one of the best purples ever, I think, Nagaroth Night. This is just absolutely banging. I've still yet to find a purple that is as good as this. Liang, how you doing? Way to build the tension. I mean, gotta get that sense of drama going, right? Loophole, what up? Okay, let's get to it. So start off with this piece, and we're going to work probably up to the first. Is that an inch? That doesn't look like quite an inch. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it can't be because there's 6 sections and that thing's 5 inches tall. So we'll work the first sort of 1.5 to 2 inches with this colour, and then we'll start to transition up a little bit past that. So we just need to make sure we've got a decent coat of paint all over these areas. And the reason we're doing this is because I really want to create the sense, the feeling, that this entire diorama is in the dark. And I've never done that with a miniature ever before. Like, they've always been painted, like you guys know my sort of usual shtick of having like a circle of light, a nimbus around a mini, and that's sort of coming in, hitting it at that angle all the way around. So this is very different, and that's one of the reasons why I love doing the giveaway models, which is what this is, by the way. Luke Paul is not a commission. This is for AJ Sadler, who won the giveaway box, chose the mystery box. We found the Aberrant in it. Hersal Sarah was the winner over on Patreon, and he won the Orc, which I'm looking very much forward to painting. Let's just feather this in somewhere up here as well, just to help with any of our transition that we might need to do. Make sure we get the undersides of stuff too. And I said when we were doing the giveaways that we would be picking one of the minis to paint, and he would be being put forward into the Amsterdam Battle Brothers Busy Brush Brawl battle. Busy Brush Brawl? Damn, I can't remember anymore. As a entry. Now, I kind of wanted to do the Orc, if I'm honest, but I quickly asked, like, can I put both of these two guys on a presentation base, a diorama base? And I was told no, because that's 2 minis. Rutang! How you doing, bro? Long time no see, it feels, but always good to have you here. How's things, man? I was told, yeah, can't do that because that's 2 minis. It's not quite the spirit of the rules that we were going for. All right, that's fine, that's fine. And so we have chosen this instead. Whilst he is 2 minis, because it's Lenny and Carl, they are 1 mini. They're literally joined, so we're okay with it. But yeah, I've never done a mini like this at all. Never done a paint job like this at all. And this is one of the reasons why we do the giveaways. I just dropped a big chunk of paint on my airbrush. That's just annoying. Right on the trigger as well. So yeah, we do the giveaway minis so we can do fun things with our toys. Gives me something that's maybe a palette cleanser to paint from whatever the current commission is I'm painting. And speaking of commissions, we've lost the Harlequins. I'm so gutted. So gutted. I was looking forward to painting them. And I'm really glad that I hadn't gone out and bought stencils and stuff for it. Main unit, what up, bro? Because that would have been pretty devastating. Well, that's kind of a lot more purple. I used the same mix as well. Just get a little bit more black in there. At work? Oh, rough, mate. Me too. This is my job now. I'm at work. Best job ever. Yeah, so we've lost the Harlequin commission, which is a shame, because that was a big commission for a start. I've filled the slot. Within about 20 minutes. Just like, hey, do you want your... Yes. Didn't even ask. Yes. Alright. So we've got a commission going on for Viking. I'm going to be painting up some... are we doing Helverins or Warglaves? I can't remember, dude. I think it was Helverins, right? So I'll have a night commission. Yes. Yes. We're going to do some custom bases for it. Can't have a knight on a plain base. It just looks wrong. Anyone that's just left their knight base completely flat has missed a gargantuan opportunity to get something cool happening with their toy soldier. It's got to be done. It's got to be done. 4 Helverins. There we go. There we go. So what we'll do with that Viking is I will pick up a green stuff roller from Element, as long as they have it in stock. And I will make some flagstones with it on like a sheet. I'll do like a sheet of Milliput. Make some flagstones. And then let that set, and then snap that so I've got broken flagstones. And then all we need to do is source some pillars, like some resin cast pillars or something similar. I also notice I haven't done any plastic art on this. And the reason why is because I didn't want to block off any access to painting in here. Snake getting his sub on for 15 months! Absolute superstar. Let's get some love in the stream for this guy. Spam some emotes, get some meeps going on. Use the hype command. Absolute legend, dude. Thank you very, very much. Cool, so there's our very dark purple. Just going to go back and hit this because we had an extra bit left in the airbrush. And because we did a slightly different mix. There we go. Right, next up we're going to go a lighter purple. This is going to be beaten purple. Actually, you know what? No, we'll just do some straight up Nagaroth Knight. Duck9410, thank you for that sub. Being gifted by Snake Plissken. Let's get some more small meep gang in there. Love it. Quality des. Oh, wait, oh, Ru-Tang is like, no. This is how it's done. Dropping 5 gift subs. Because he's a legend. We got subs going out now to Monetary Cookie. That's brilliant. Voodoo Graphics, Her Theory, The Peckish Fox, Peckish, and Sapphire 8 Dragon. Let's get some love in the stream now for Ru-Tang Clan. Absolute superstar. And I don't have my document open. There you go. Pop those on here, and we'll get them put in after the stream. Fucking legend, mate. Thank you very much. And then, starting the hype train at level 3 now. Spleen999 getting their sub in for second month in a row. Getting in on that. Love the content, he says. Fucking legend. Thank you very, very much. You guys, utter bosses. And then Liang coming in. See our sip. Getting in with some bits. Thank you, dude. Cheers, Sean. And then Felsius coming in with a follow. Superstars. Every single one of you, superstars. It's that licky meat face. Gonna love it. So, I still want to keep this dark. If we don't do pure purple. This is all a little bit of an experiment, as you guys can tell. So we'll just put... Let's do the same ratio with this lighter purple. See how this goes. If it turns out shit, alright, it turns out shit. No problem. 3, 6, 9, 2, 6. Avoided my PC yesterday. Hopefully next month I start streaming. Nice, dude. Very nice. That's fantastic. It's one of the best things I've ever done is start streaming. Nearly 2 years now. 2 years. Oh, got to talk about this. 2 years at the end of April, and we've got a very, very, very special giveaway going on. It's evolved from what I was originally gonna have it as. So last year we gave away an Imperial Knight, well, Chaos Knight, Renegade Knight, custom Knight body. Gonna be great. Gonna be great. And it was. This year, I decided I wanted to give somebody something they could actually use, because that Knight has sat in a glass cabinet for a year and it hasn't seen a tabletop. I want people to get some minis on the table and play some games when we can. And so I want to give away an army, but obviously I want to give away an army that is a quality paint job. I don't want to give away like my speed painted Nurgle Demons or something, which look okay, but they're not quality. And that's what we want to do. So, exclamation point Discord. Head on over to the channel named Streamiversary Lists. You'll see that here, where you can enter a list. Now, there's a pinned message right at the top. Let's go to this message. Choose your own giveaway. We need to decide what we're going to paint, and what I need from you guys is a small list. Snake, CR-SIP is like Mr. PC build, so trust me, you can give him all the tech specs, he'll know exactly what you're talking about. Here's a sample list. So like an HQ or two, a Troops Choice or two, and then like one thing maybe from Elites, Fast Attack, Transport, whatever. Okay. So here's a list. And Neurothropes, some Warriors, some Swarms, and some Zone Thropes. Cool little Tyranid list. Brain Bugs, Warriors, little bunch of Swarms. Sick. That'll look cool. We've then got some people that have potentially gone a little far, because just the Greater Demon is a weekend's worth of paint, really. That's a tough ask. Demon Prince with Wings, they're fucking terrible models. Might have to 3D print something there. Sorcerer, a couple of small units, and Noise Marines. That's a much better list in terms of what we can paint in the time and keep the quality up. This is a good list. So what you need to do, when you find a list that you like, react to it with a meep, bunk, and go through the rest of the lists. Any that you like. Like, here's one, I think, no, I didn't like that one, actually. Here's one I liked. The Tower one. Commander, Strike Team, some broadsides. Done. So we put our meat on that. There's loads of them all the way up through here. Go and vote for it. We will get a a short list out of that, and we will move forward with finding out how we're going to paint it, probably very early next month. We need to work on like how we're going to base it and so on. Needs to be well painted, obviously. It's going to be a fun army, going to be a good army. Right, coming in now with this lighter purple mixed in with black. And this is like the area where we're going to start transitioning in with the blue as well. So we want this to have a bit more pop to it than our last coat of paint, which I think it's got. We'll see what it's like when it's dry though. And you can see we're just feathering this into that really, really, really dark purple, verging on black down there at the bottom. I'm actually going to go a little further than that because we need to create a bit more interest, I feel, than we had. So we'll leave that super dark purple right at the very bottom and build this up. Now I don't want to go too far because the natural want from me will be to make this super bright and super poppy and cartoony and all that, but that's not what we're doing. This is in the dark, so this needs to be kept dark. You need to imagine that this Abominant is sneaking his way through the underhive or the bowels of whatever like factory structure he's in, on a little mission being directed by Carl. Carl is the little gimpy dude along with him, and he's going to try and destroy this reactor, thereby setting off the plan generations in the making. So we've got to keep to the story a heck of a lot more than my usual kind of paint style of make it bright, get it cartoony. So, you know. Speaking of people streaming, Glass Joe, how you doing, bro? Everyone, if you're not already, give him a follow. So now we're getting a coat of paint down on Lenny and Carl. Yeah, I think it's the same stuff that I do. So my setup's a Ryzen 7. There were some large numbers after it. I can't remember. It's got a 2080 graphics card, I think. Shit of RAM. Yeah. All the usual stuff. Trying to set my stuff up, move my desk and computer around. Nice. Nice, man. So one thing I want to do at some point this year, it'll be way after our stream birthday, but I want to redo like all of this. So these shelves, I've had those shelves since I was, I don't know, like 17. They're rock solid. My old man made them out of some spare bits of melamine. This is a mixture of this and this. Beaten Purple by P3 and just some black. And we're building it up. I think it's still a little too dark, but we'll see. Remember, we are still going to be highlighting all of this and picking out some little bits of detail. So, you know, it's pretty okay. Jan! How you doing, brother? Here you go. He's the king of the diorama bases. We're doing something very different to my usual here, mate. Yeah, we're going to have to go brighter with this purple. This is still way too dark. So we'll use this as the first part of our transition up to a much more bright purple, and then we'll come in with that after this. So let's go heavier now what we're doing. All this is the first time ever trying, so bear that in mind, guys. Trying to do a scene at night, well, not at night time, in the depths of the Underhive where it's pitch black, Jan. With multiple light sources coming from it. We've got loads of little lights in these things up here. There's a massive furnace that we've got open up the door. Smashing that in, you know, it's gonna be good. It is gonna be good, but it's... Hey. Even broke at the airbrush, some highlights on a smoke creature. Yes. Welcome to the dark side. Airbrushes are great. Although, speaking of airbrushes, so earlier on this week I thought it's probably about time I changed the filter in my airbrush setup. So I bought some, and I haven't had the courage yet to remove this and see what horrible shit is inside it. But it's gonna look like a fucking swamp, I'm sure. Oh damn, we've run out. Need more paint. Need more paint! Do it live on stream. Might do. So we did 6 and 10. Do it now. Hell no. Hell no. Might retch. Oh man, that reminds me I need to do mine. Yeah, exactly, right? So I did change mine. I think it wasn't long after we moved in here, and that's been more than 2 years. So. Oh, it's gonna look rough here. Whole ASMR of you just deep cleaning an airbrush and associated kit. God, no. No, ain't nobody want to watch that. Or listen to that, I guess. That'd be the thing, wouldn't it? ASMR, mostly audio. Apparently the microphone I've got is really good for that sort of thing. But I'm not gonna, like, whisper to you. Maybe just a little bit. We could do some, like, ASMR airbrush noises, you know. There you go. Which loophole? The ASMR Mohawk stream or the airbrush cleaning filter needing to be replaced? Or both. Not mutually exclusive. Right, so building up this nice darker purple. This has got a little bit more personality to it than the Nagaroth Night and Black we did. That was very, very, very dark. But useful. Good introduction to this colour, essentially. We need to keep it dark, though, because even the blue that we're going on with has to be dark. We just want it to be noticeably blue towards the top. But still dark. So, hate SMR, it makes my skin crawl. Gross. Breathe. Cheers for that host, bro. Scrub Lord, how you doing? Mr. Enigma, what up? Right, so we're going to flush out most of this, then we're going to take a little bit more purple and add it in. Just to boost the purple a touch, not a lot. Has to be just a little bit. So can I? Yeah, we can. We can just go a little bit, because then we're going to start mixing in things like Incubi Darkness and building it up. Flash and Dash 2000 get his sub on. Oh wow, it's a gifted sub from Mr. Enigma. Cheers, dude. Tibble's Evil Cat, thank you very much, mate. We're loving the whole full-timeness of this. Absolutely loving it. Last week, or I suppose this week that we've just had, was my first week. Got quite a lot of Blood Angels done. Here, Flash and Dash, there's some meeps for you. Still building some, including a tank, one of the impulsors, and yeah, going to be doing a video all about how to paint marine tanks. But I think we're going to start mixing that and Incubi Darkness in rather than black now. Love those emotes, bro. So Incubi Darkness, kind of a bluey black. And we're hoping to build this up. Dry fit it, his instructions are a little shit and some bits don't go in the order it said. Oh bro, I've done a couple of these. But thank you, I appreciate you saying that. They're not the worst kits, and this one is the very first one that I put together that hasn't had honking great big gaps down here and up here especially. This one is like the mystical impulsor that just fit flush. This is brand new. Brand new. Never ever happened before that experience. How did the game go last night? The game was great fun. Chris is doing a 24-hour tank stream. It's about time he did a decent stream. When is it happening? Is it today? Front left corner. So yeah, it's just always those corners, mate. They're fucking terrible. But yeah, they're decent kits when they're good. When they're bad, they're fucking terrible. Right, so we're going to keep this restrained. Not go crazy with this. Been home 5 days. Still not had hobby time. Tomorrow's a day. Not sure whether to do an Orc for my Blood Bolt or a Dreadnought for my army. Dreadnought. Dreadnought. Always Dreadnought. If you can Dreadnought, Dreadnought. If you can't Dreadnought, find a way to Dreadnought. Alright, so now I'm going to work all the way up to the top of these bits. But yeah, loving the Impulsor. That's going to be part of a video on how to paint marine tanks, because all of them are basically the same. All of them are basically the same. Alpha Legion Scar and Punch, your Sculpt, Custom of Banner and High. Oh, nice, dude. That sounds awesome. I love some Alpha Legion. I'm trying to sell my Alpha Legion. I have a Alpha Legion Primaris army. Most of it is just what came out at the start of 8th edition. Plus there's a couple of things like Contempt, Dreadnought, and Leviathan, and so on in there. They're painted okay, but they're not by any stretch like as good a standard as my Knights. But they're decent. They're okay. They're in Discord. They're pinned in a general channel. So if somebody's interested in a marine army for cheap, we're talking sort of somewhere between 200 and 300 quid. Make me an offer. Obviously, towards the top end of that scale. Depending on where you are in shipping and stuff, we can sort some out. There's a lot of things like shitloads of Hellblasters. Fucking loved Hellblasters back in the day. There's some aggressors. There's all the usual command stuff. Plus one of the best minis GW ever made, the metal Terminator Chaplain. Add a couple of zeros, Viking. Deal. After, not in front. Just getting the Gladiator kit. It's the Impulse kit. Oh, I know, mate. Definitely. Definitely. It's just this came with the Blood Angels Combat Patrol. Therefore, that's the way. But with a few magnets, you can take a Gladiator and turn that into an Impulsor and every Gladiator variant you want. And you get the full Impulsor kit, because the Impulsor was designed on 2 sprues, right? And you need both those sprues to do the basic part of it, so they can't even take away the options to do all of the impulsor stuff. So from now on, guys, don't buy impulsors, buy gladiators. You may never use a gladiator, but next edition, when they go, no one bought one last edition, so now we'll make them good, you've definitely got that tech all ready to go. But last night's game was hilarious. I played my Necrons. Ben played his Death Guard with Mortarion. So the current big bad of the tabletop. It was brilliant. So my list was 60 warriors, 20 of them with the Flayers, 40 with Reapers. Then we did the Nightbringer at his new points. A unit of 9 Scarabs, 2 units of 4 Scarabs, 2 Crypto Thrall units, 2 Chronomancers, 1 with the Veil of Darkness that I never actually got to use. Battle Chode! Get his 3-month sub down. Brand new badge for you. Thank you very much for that sub, brother. Much appreciated. What else? I had a Overlord that I made a Pharaon. And a unit of 6 Scorpec Destroyers because I love them. And turns out they're still decent. 6 Scorpec Destroyers absolutely did some work last night. We played whatever the mission, Scorched Earth, I think, 6 objectives. With Dawn of War style deployment. Right, now I'm going to start working in the blue. So we're going to mix in some Incubi Darkness, like a lot of this and a little of this, to our purple mix, and try and feather this in. My wife says she starts streaming too early on a Saturday. Well, tell her she just needs to get up earlier. It's totally fine. Dax, how you doing? We're painting a diorama base for Lenny, who is our Abominant. How you doing? Right. So I'm going to drop in a little bit more purple. This is beaten purple from P3, which is really, really cool. It's kind of a slightly more vivid, I think it's Warlock purple, GW's version of that. Next question, what you're drinking? That was some banging coffee. Some Incubi Darkness, and then a little of Signar Blue Highlight. No, we'll do base. We'll do the base. We'll keep it darker. From P3. Play my life. I mean, you know, you've got to make that judgment call, bro. That's up to you. Can I host your channel? Yeah, absolutely, dude. Yeah, I missed your message actually. That's on me. But yeah, you can definitely host. Hosts are really encouraged because they help promote a content creator's channel. The more people that host it, the closer it gets to the front page, basically. And that's super important. Studio NTEA, thank you very much. Science Pie. Morning, Jay says. Throw some bits in the jar. Almost in the jar. They didn't make it. Thank you very much, man. Good work as well on your night. Basically, getting that started. Liking it. Right. Here we'll do all of the top section and work into that purple. So here's where we're starting to look for our blue coming through. This is, as you can see, about the midpoint of the entire thing. It's a no-brainer. Rocky, I think you just lack the testicular fortitude to say that. Put her on. I'll tell her. Okay, I'll take one for the team. It's all right. I've got you, bro. Jaeger. How's it going? this is that strange mix of Incubi Darkness, whatever else I said, Signar Blue base, some Beaten Purple, and we're going to work very, very far away from this section. This is one of the reasons why I use so much Flow Improver. It stops the paint drying in the air on the way through. And what we're doing is trying to get a seamless blend of that purple through into the blue. So by working from a massive distance, you're working with the most diffuse possible spray that you can. Because of the Flow Improver, the paint won't dry in the air because it's a drying retarder. Bam, and there we go, look at that. We've got, unfortunately, with that line there, it looks like a very visible line. But if we tilt this away, you can see we've got purple that fades up into that blue. It's good. It's good. Had a long sleep playing Halo. I'll print you until 3 a.m. Ooh. Sounds like fun though, dude. Haven't played Halo since Halo 2 came out. That was it. Fucking long time ago. We were playing Halo. Right, this is sat at the bottom, so that doesn't get any blue on it. But I think it would look weird if that was just purple, so we'll just blue the top. Phrasing, but you know. From is your school teacher. That is true, mate. That is very true. But that's because on any day they've even started to step foot in a classroom, they're working till like midnight. My ex-wife was a teacher. Or a teacher, trainee teacher, at least. Frozin getting gifted a sub by Glass Joe. Is he here? Have we got Mr. Chris in the chat? Say hi if you are, mate. I know you're probably working, so gotta lurk, but you're good. Boom, there's some meats for you. Mr. Chris, definitely Mr. Chris. Like Mr. Guitar, and he'd definitely appreciate that reference. Jay has an ocean of safety. Jay definitely does, yeah. Is he doing his stream now? Is now the streamathon? I haven't seen anything about it at all. Like no publicity. So, Stuart, take care, bro. Thanks for dropping by. Oh, Drunk Mystic, what is this? Gifting 3 subs. We've got Dirty Habit 611, Hex Gecko, and Studio NTEA. All of you guys getting subs. The generosity of this community is amazing. Thank you very, very much, man. Question from Science Pie. Helverins, Crusader, and other loadouts. What's next then? Armigas or another big boy? So, right now, my night list, I still think is the best way to play knights, which is still the big knights. I know a lot of people are suggesting that you shouldn't, and you should play with loads and loads of little knights. I still think it's the way. Honestly, like the massive threat overload you get from a Crusader stamping on your face. For me, that list is perfect. But the other way of playing it is all those mini knights, and I've written a list that's of that style that is very different to most people's version of that list. Most people's version of that list is a load of Warglaves, like 9 of them, then some Helverins, and you end up with 12 to 14 baby knights in the list. best night at the moment, the Forge World Nightsmith era? No. I'm afraid it's not. It'd be great, but it's not. The best night is a House Crash Crusader. Because it does everything that you want it to do. Anyway, the blue is a weird mix, mate. It's mostly that with some of that and then some of both of those in. So it's no specific colour, and I'm hoping I've just got enough of this mix to do all of the bits I need to do. We have to agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree, mate. You can disagree all you like, but I like to feel I come from a position of knowing exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to knights. With the chops to back it up. We've definitely put our time in at the tournament tables with knights. But the baby knight list is 2 Moirax with the grav gun, a Styrax, and I think 9 Halverins. 9 Warglaves. I'm only number 2 in the world now, though. I am only number 2 in the world right now. You're absolutely correct. In a year where there have been very few tournaments to go to. So yeah, I'm only the 2nd best player in the world this year when there have been very few tournaments. Last year, when there were loads of tournaments, I was the best player in the world. What can I say? Standards are slipping. Too much time painting, not enough time playing games. That's clearly it. Rocky, what are you doing, man? Viking, that was definitely Ben's laugh in the background. Yeah. Got 5 gift subs being thrown in from Rocky. Zlong1, Aggravation, Yeti Boss, Custodian Andrew 13, and Scooter UK. All you guys will get your meeps after the stream. Absolute superstar. Kakita87 says, I would use a Cerastus Knight with a shield at its slightly tanking the Knight so we can draw more fire off the Warglaves. It's nice. It is nice. But the Styrax, I feel, is where it's at. The Styrax still gets the same invulnerable saves that you would expect. You can give it a 4-up from range super easily with Rotate, or by giving it Iron Bulwark. It has a 5-up invulnerable save in combat. The Volkite is super good. That thing is great. So, loving that. It's just dependable damage. It's got the claw in combat is really strong. So if you're facing up against things like Death Guard, like Marines with 3 wounds, a la all of the new Primaris shit, it will get the job done. It will do the damage, and it will put those guys down. Because as soon as you get to D3 wounds per stomp, it's not reliable on anything that's got more than 2 wounds. In fact, it will reliably kill 1 per 2 wounding hits that go through, and you can't get enough done with that, which is a shame. So I would take the Styrax. It's also got that Rad Flamer, which is fucking great. And it's cheap. It fits in the list. Frozin is here. How you doing, brother? Feels like we don't talk much anymore, dude, and I'm really sad about that. Little Birdie tells me you are doing a 24-hour stream painting tanks? Is that right? Let's make sure this fade matches on both of these bits. Yes, it does. Happy days. Happy days. Been lurking all morning. We're doing well, bro. Doing very well. How's things for you, then, man? Right. So here, play paint bolt action or black powder as well as Warhammer. I don't, but I know a few people that do. Right, now I'm going to go in with some Incubi Darkness and some Signar Blue base. So we're now moving out of our purple range into our blues. Tibble's Evil Cat, thank you for that host. As soon as one of my viewers sends me his tank, I can get the sculpting done. Ooh, What sculpting? So go half and half for these two. Ichu! How you doing? Just announced on a Valiant then. No. Just no. Going to a lot of Death Guard and Dark Kings. Now 3 stomps are massive. So the only problem with the Valiant is that really to get the most out of him. Whoops, we put in way too much blue because I was talking. To get the most out of him, you need to run him as not Mechanicus. And as soon as you run anything as not Mechanicus, it just becomes no good. Especially the Valiant, because it's such a short range thing. They can cripple it turn 1, stop you getting your movement out of it, and then you're kind of done. The Flamer's really, 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 really good. But it's not worth losing Machine Spirit Resurgent. It just isn't. I wish it was. Don't play bolt action, seems a bit far-fetched. Brilliant. Right, let's test this out. This might be a little too bright. No, I think we're okay. I'm just going to dry that on the mat with the dryer. Hairdryer, by the way, one of the best hobby tools ever. Yeah, this is fine. Well, that's the very first of your turn 1 because they get so crippled when they don't have it. Yeah, basically. With the change to the way it's scored now, Hex Gecko gifting a sub to Kakita87. Also, I'm loving the night chat, by the way, guys. Let me just give Kakita their meeps. There you go, dude. For those of you who have been given a sub and don't understand what meeps are or anything like that, exclamation point win and exclamation point mystery in the chat. Every month we give away a £50 hobby voucher, which will use your meeps to buy tickets into the raffle in the last stream of the month. The last stream of this month is a crazy stream. We'll get to that in a bit. We also give away a mini painted by me in a colour scheme of your choice. Now this is one of them. This is something slightly special though. There's a painting contest that I want to enter, and this is my entry for it. So I said when we did the giveaway that I'll pick one of the minis we give away, and we'll still do whatever the paint scheme of the winner chooses, you know, but we will do it as a display quality piece rather than tabletop quality. To give you an idea of tabletop, like I've got a few of these that are in various stages of being finished. So here's a Blood Angel. You see we've got some very, very, very nice red armor on that. Let's zoom in so you can actually see it though. There you go. So that's like tabletop quality armor, that sort of tabletop quality faces and so on. So, you know, we're going above that for this. Make sure our focus is back to right. There you go. So it's going to be fun. But this month, not this week, this week's giveaway, God, that would be crazy. Can you imagine? This month, we've got a lot going on. We're trying to push for partner this month, which if we don't get it, it's fine. But the reason we're pushing for partner is simply because it's the stream's 2-year anniversary in April. And I would very much like to be able to give people 2-year badges that have been supporting me for that time. Because there are plenty of people here that will have that badge reasonably shortly. And I want to make sure that they have the recognition that I feel they deserve for all of that support. So we're trying to push for partner this month. If it doesn't happen, like I said, that's cool. I'm never, ever going to try and force get in there. We're certainly not going to do any of these. This annoys me when people try and game a system. Right. So if you come here as a raid, I don't care if you don't take the URL out. Yeah, in fact, I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather I earned the partner than sort of played the system to get there. Right, again, working from a distance of probably about 6-8 inches away, just to ensure that we're getting that super smooth blend on this. Short burst with the airbrush, feathering that in. Looking cool. Looking cool. How'd you get that zoom in so nicely? I've got a... You can't quite see it now. I've managed to move it just out of frame. I've got a real camera. So it's a Panasonic mirrorless DSLR camera. Well, mirrorless camera. DSLR is a different thing. With a decent lens, and it's just a rotate zoom. So... It's not a fake camera. It's an imaginary camera. It's a real imaginary camera. So... nothing more annoying when you raid someone and they ask you to click a link or refresh. I just think it's silly. End of the day, doing stuff like that, it's only going to hurt the community at large, I feel. Because Twitch ain't stupid. Alright? Rick and Smith, what you need for part... So what you need is to be assessed by Twitch. And what they do... So let's start the conversation at the beginning then, rather than halfway through, which is where I originally went. So let's give it a decent overview. Twitch has two different statuses for people that are allowed to monetize their channel. One of them is affiliate, which is super easy to get. You just need 50 followers, that's it. And then you send some paperwork off to Twitch. They ask you to fill out some forms, like some tax forms and stuff. And bam, that's it, you're an affiliate. You can go and get subs, you can go and get bits and cheers and donations and all the other bits that are sort of the monetary interaction with your Twitch community that Twitch allow you to do. For partner, it's a little bit more of a personal assessment. So Twitch does like an audit on your channel. And you need to have an average of 70 followers, so you're close with that one. Average of 70. And you need to have people chatting quite a lot, so you need to interact with your community. It can't just be something dull to watch that people are just sort of hanging out for. It's got to be something that is an interactive experience, because obviously the more interactive you are, the more Twitch feels, I imagine, they can earn money from subscribers and from communities that are thriving and so on. Because whatever you do on Twitch, Twitch is very much trying to make itself money as a sustainable business. Can't fault that. Absolutely can't fault that. So if it is really Drunk Mystic, everyone follow Drunk Mystic right now. I am following Drunk Mystic. Come on. We need another 12. Do it. Do it now. Click his name. Click the button. Click follow. Let's get a shout out for him. We can do it. Done. Excellent. There's the shout out from Jaeger, because he's a superstar. There you are. It's all about reading the system. I mean, a little bit there, I guess. But yeah, you're right. But affiliate normally comes, I'll say normally now then, relatively straightforward, you know. Whereas partner is where Twitch will do a bit of a deep dive on your stream, and they will work out what you can do for them and see if it's worth them making you a partner. So having a good number of viewers, having the discussion, and that community engagement is a big part of it. I think it's also now much more difficult due to the number of people who have started streams quarantine season. Yeah, definitely. Twitch has had more streamers. You know. You're anything is completely stupid. The viewers from Rage should be counted stream viewers up to 10, 15, 30 minutes or whatever. Yeah, they should. But they could be just completely AFK. So I understand why Twitch has made the decision that they don't. I'm fine with it. Fish, how you doing, bro? Make sure you don't make balance like me hang out if you want my partner. No. Balance let you drive discussion, Rocky. And frequently drive hype in the streams. So, you know. Right, this is probably the lightest blue that we're going to do on this. And we're doing it more of a Zenithal. Still working in from a distance. Still trying to get this very light feather coming through. So you see what's happening if I do airbrush like this. So you can just see the brush moving. See how the thumb is just sort of pulling back a touch as we go past the mini. Try and do it in slow-mo. Hard to see. But essentially we're just putting the tiniest amount of paint through to allow that feathering to start happening. So we've gone from super dark purple all the way up to a decent mid-tone blue. We're not looking for bright blue. Decent mid-tone blue. We're going to darken the shit out of all of this. Get some inks going through. Perhaps definitely get the washes on. Grethar getting his sub on. Being gifted, in fact, by Mr. Nick McDade. There you go, dude. Give you your meeps. It's really annoying. It's difficult to copy somebody's name out of the chat unless your mouse is in exactly the right position. Here you go, bro. Sorted. There you are. Pesacero, how you doing, bro? Greetings from the brewery, love it. Can you tell why I wasted my paint too much in the airbrush? What? As in, you're doing it and you don't want to? Sorry, bro. Can you run that one by me again? One of us, I feel, is failing at English today, and it might be me. Glass Joe, fucking legend, as always, man. Dax Moran being gifted a sub. Sort out your meeps as well. Boom. There you go, fella. Oh dear. Not Badger Mushroom. No. Grethar, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, everything that happens on Twitch happens to serve Twitch. And like I said, I've got absolutely no issue with that, because end of the day, I'm still earning a living from their service. I need their service to exist for me to earn that living. So, as a direct consequence, we're kind of okay with it. You know, I don't mind. Without Twitch, I wouldn't have this. Without Twitch, I'd have ended up having to scramble to get another job after being made redundant, rather than have the option of being a full-time painter. And the commissions count for the majority of my income. But Patreon and Twitch certainly help. They go a long way, in fact. So, here we go. Here's where things could get really difficult. Paint. It's in the airbrush. I thin it too heavily. It's super watery. It runs everywhere and takes forever to dry. Are you thinning it 1-to-1 or are you thinning it more than that? Like, count the number of drops going in. I have 4 whole days left of being in my 30s. Fish. It's okay, bro. It's okay. You made it. Congrats. Right, so next option. How do we do this now? I think. Yeah, we'll go with the white. Okay, so the next step, and this is where this could go catastrophically wrong. I said this right at the start of the stream, which was a little over an hour ago. This is an experiment that might go completely wrong. We are painting a night scene, essentially. We're painting a scene where everything is dark. Next step is never a dry brush Grimgar. How dare you? Rocky, practice makes perfect, right? Or at least decent. Oh goody, I've turned out for a catastrophe, yeah. Yeah, but Greta, that's... I'm not gonna say it's bad of them, because it helps them support their wider business. Do I wish it was different? Yeah, it would be better if it was different, but it is what it is, right? I'm not on Twitch's board, I can't change that. If it was more transparent, yeah, great. But equally, I understand why it's not. And partner, because it's assessed every time, rather than just, you get it, you've got the stats, you get it, then it shouldn't really matter anyway. But I guess the main reason, and it doesn't impact streamers like us so much, but if you're a streamer that regularly gets, say, 10,000 viewers on your channel at once because you're playing League of Legends or Fortnite or whatever the popular game is at the time, you can't raise your mate and go, right, this guy had an average of 7,500 viewers this month because I turned up twice, you know, and game the system. So that's why, I guess. So Jabolian says, would you have any tips for highlighting gold when you have one shade of gold? Is for a Necron Overlord mixing whites or silver? Silver. We have a brilliant guide on Patreon about how to paint gold. But essentially, mix some silver in with your gold until it ever so slightly, and I mean like just on the cusp, starts to look like silver more than gold, and then mix some gold back into it. That will shift it back towards that side of the spectrum, and you'll end up with basically the same gold to go on top of it. The other thing to do would be to heavily modify your base gold. So put down your base gold, wash it maybe even twice, and then you can highlight it with the original gold for its first highlight, and then that second mix up to the next highlight. So, oh, absolutely, Greta. But you know, remember, let's move on from there. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking a load of flow improver, some water, and then some white ink. Sorry, I was going to say, remember, like it's their decision and I can't change it. But let's move on from there. So, acrylic inks are amazing. Everyone should use this as part of their painting arsenal. Vitally important, make sure the top's on when you shake it. It does come out of your jeans after like 2 to 3 washes, so don't worry. Now I'm putting in 10 drops of ink to 5 drops of water and 15 drops of flow improver. So this is the thinnest paint you'll ever put through your airbrush, basically. You're going to stir it with a clean cocktail stick and not the brush that's been sat in that jar of paint water for nearly a week. That gets changed on Mondays. And the reason we've thinned this so much is because we need it to not be speckly. Still be, but... oh, brilliant. I get it, dude. I do. Right, so that's backflowed and percolated really well. And we'll still get some speckling, but not so much. So now what we're going to do is going to find every single source of light on this. We're going to highlight that area with white. We're then going to find the sources of like the recipient of that light rather than the source of that light. And we're going to highlight those areas. So the first thing to do is to put these things out in about the same place that they would be. So this is going to go on here. We want those two bits like so they're directly opposite each other. The heights are a little different on some of these. So this, as you can see, is ever so slightly off. That would be there, allowing our reactor to just sit above that lip. That's the point of it. So they go on the base like so. We've got this thing forming part of a backdrop about there, and then this little fan pushed in there at the bottom. So we've got what looks quite claustrophobic but really isn't, and that's our base. That's where everything is going to go. So we know this is the biggest and brightest light source. This is a roaring sort of furnace, that kind of thing. We've got a light source just here, which is a palm reader, and we took these little guardrails, I guess. We inverted them to kind of give this the feeling of there being like an energy gate that stops anyone getting to that, and he's deactivated it and is going in there to smashy smash. We've got a little light just down here. We've got very small lights just here. In fact, you can't quite see them. There they are. This is going to be like those, if they're flashing orange, not safe. If they're green, safe. So they're going to be green as well. We've got some lights on this part up here towards the top. Not going to do anything on the back. This will just darken down and kind of ignore. We've also got some gauges and stuff here, which we might just brush on some OSL. We've got a little bit going on up the top there as well. So we've got lots of sources, and that's the first thing I'm going to do, is going to pick out all of those. We won't start with the most important one first. We'll start with something small like this first. But anyway, we started talking, that entire conversation about partner started out because I said we're doing a push for partner this month. That was going to lead into another part of discussion. Oh, tasty water. Because the next part of the discussion is much more fun. The next part is all about this month's giveaway. It's going to happen on the 28th of February. Which is a Sunday, and that is the Sunday that forms day 2 of the Necronathon 2 Judgment Day, where we're going to paint a load more Necrons. Now, the last one was epic. The last one, we did 110 minis in 40 and a half hours of streaming. It was tough. It was really, really tough. This time around, there's a lot less minis, but there's still quite a few. Let's get a count. There's 20 warriors, 25 immortals, that was 45. There are 6 Ophidian destroyers and 2 plasma sites. That's another 8, so that puts us to 53. There are 3 spiders. That puts us up to 56. There are 9 Scarab bases, so that's 65. There's 2 Doom Scythes, 67. The Silent King and his friends, we'll call that 3, because it's 1 big Monil and 2 little Menias. So that's 70. There will be 3 or 4 characters. We've got the Hexmark, we've got a not Plasmancer, what's it fucking called? Psychomancer coming in. So call that getting us somewhere to 65 perhaps. Then there's 3 Locust Destroyers and 3 Doomstalkers. So let's just call that 70. I think I lost count somewhere in there, didn't I? But it's quite a lot, as you can see. And the Silent King obviously is a beast. Thank you, Viking. So yeah, 80 odd minis. And I think there's some Scorpec stuff in there as well. Can't remember. Is there something else? I don't know why I'm turning around, because Nick's got all my Necrons to be putting together. I think that's it. I think that's it. So about 80 minis, but one of them is the Silent King. I've got to do all that in 2 days. It's an ask. It's a big old ask. Right, what we're going to do is put my thumb there so I don't get any on the ladder. We're going to make our light sources currently quite large. I also can't have it on there, thinking about it. So let's just cover those areas up with our hands. Draw that out a little bit. Remember, light moves in sort of straight lines. Technically speaking, these areas at the front wouldn't get illuminated. This edge would. 2 flyers. 2 flyers. You've got them both. Oh, yes, I did include them. I would say no. You think I can't do it? Fish, get out. Get out. Well, I can do 80 minis in... 2 minis in 80 days. Ah, I misread that. But can you? Can you? Can you really? Can you? Right. Is there any other emitted light on this lowest portion? Is there anything in here? No. Okay. Nothing on this edge. That radiator would be fun, but that radiator is going to be basically in the way of that, so we're not going to bother with it. Anything on the bottom? No. So, we're now up to our palm scanner. Wait, let's clean the nozzle. Not that you can't, but it's asking a lot of sacrifice. I mean, there's always something else to sacrifice for the stream, mate. Always. I feel like I haven't even sacrificed any dignity yet. That's any dignity. Not even all of it, just any. So, you know. But no, I love doing the long stream weekends. They're great fun. I like the physical challenge of it as well. Time yet, yeah, I know, right? I like the mental challenge. Some would say I'm used to a mental challenge, or at least being mentally challenged, but, you know, they'd be really nasty people. It doesn't matter how accurate they are. It's probably dumb, but how do you keep your airbrush so focused? I feel like mine is so wide. I use as high a pressure as I can. So we've had a few questions about this recently, because a lot of people bought the same airbrush setup that I have, and it's not a cheap setup. So they've done their due diligence and looked into it. On my airbrush right now, which is dusty AF. Let's see if I can... This is going to be loud, so apologies. Got this old pressure gauge, right? And the PSI is around the edge. So we are at 45 PSI. Okay? And the reason that's recording 45 PSI, despite the fact that the manufacturer says the airbrush will put out 18 PSI, is because it's forcing air into this, alright? This is my airbrush tank. I don't have a tank connected to that compressor. I have this. This is a tank. In the hose, which is obviously highly compressed air right now at 45 PSI, when we apply our first bit of air, that compressor goes 45 right the way down to 30 very quickly, and a more gradual drop down to about 22. And that's because that first bit of pressure is the air is just absolutely desperate to come out of here. So that's how we can keep our airbrush so focused, even from a decent distance. Yeah, we're not back here spraying where we get a wide aperture because it's had more time to spread out. We're coming right in up close, bam, 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 bam. You hit those tiny, tiny bits of detail with it. And this is a 0.3 needle. It's not like it's a super precision airbrush. It's a precision instrument. It's clearly getting the job done, but you can get much, much smaller aperture airbrushes. Yeah, it comes out as a cone. Yeah, so like this. Now, if you spray at lower PSI, that cone will be wider because it has less like impetus, less force coming out the front. So it comes out any way it can, and it will go anywhere from like this to this, basically. The higher your pressure, the thinner that cone of paint becomes, and the more focused it is. And I will spray at this pressure with paint that is the thinnest thing ever. Remember, 1/3 of this is white acrylic ink, which feels a little bit like water anyway. The rest of it is flow improver and water. This is unbelievably thin. It still needs cleaning out every couple of minutes though, because the white will cake that needle. But this means we can come right in and hit those targets with really, really good levels of control. Now, a lot of people will say, if you spray at such a high PSI, you will always get spider webbing. Ta-da! There you go, even in the chat, as we said it right there. Let me disprove a myth for you. So here is basically water. Alright, it's coloured water. Here's one of the flattest surfaces that I've got to hand, the back of my hand. Here's some paint. Okay? Here's some paint. Here's some paint. No spider webs, no cracks, no like mess anywhere. Now, just to prove what I'm doing, I'm going to take my thumb, watch my knuckle. See how my knuckle's white? That's because we're using absolute full air. So we're at 22 PSI now. No spider webbing, no spider webbing, no spider webbing. Okay. Look at the thumb, still full down. No spider webbing. Boom. Fuck off, Nick. If I need to spray the fattest part of me, it would be either my front or my ass. So, you know. So now I'm going to show you what's going wrong. Every time you get spider webs, it's not to do with the amount of pressure you're spraying with. If you've got a condenser, I have a moisture trap right here, and I'll explain why it's here in a bit. So again, absolutely jamming our thumb down. So same pressure as here. Oh, spider webs. Look at that, spider webs. Oh, let's do it again. Ah, fuck off, spider webs. Do it again. Ah, more spider webs. The only difference between this and this is how much paint you use. Okay? If you control the amount of paint, and I use my thumb, and there have been a few YouTubers that are relatively famous that say, if you use your thumb, you're a noob, you'll never get the right amount of control with your airbrush, it'll never be good enough. Well, motherfucker, I played years of Street Fighter 2. My thumbs are extremely well fucking trained, thank you very much. If you put out the smallest amount of paint, even at super high pressure, way above what people suggest you should use, but just use the smallest amount of paint, no spider webs. As soon as you put too much paint out, you get spider webs. And the reason behind that, Here's what's happening. You are putting your paint, I wonder if you can see it in black, onto a surface. Yeah? That first bit of paint goes on as a super thin layer, and it starts to dry. Okay, so it shrinks, right? The second bit of paint goes on as another layer over the top of that, and that starts to shrink as it dries. And eventually what happens is you get a layer that is so thick that the surface tension that is holding that in place will break because of the air that is being pushed past it, right? So that breaks the seal and it gives you the spider webs, which is this. And it has fuck all to do with how thin stuff is. Remember, we're using basically coloured water. It has nothing to do with how much pressure you're using, because I showed you, even on the compressor, super high pressure mode activated, absolutely jamming that trigger down with my thumb to give it the full beans. So it's nothing to do with that. It's all about that control. As soon as you put too much paint down, spider webs. There's so much misinformation on the internet, especially like YouTube, where you've got people saying, here's how you use your airbrush, here's the common mistakes that you're making, and they list a load of the shit that I do on purpose. And, I mean, frankly, you can see the results of my airbrushing. This is just the base coats on stuff, but they are fucking smooth. Super, super smooth. Right, question about moisture trap. What's the point of that? Isn't there already water to thin that paint you're applying? Right, so here's the deal with the moisture trap. This bit, fuck it, quick release. This bit here is super important. When you are compressing air, when you compress anything, pressure builds. Pressure induces heat in stuff, okay? My compressor has been running now constantly for an hour and a half. It's not getting hot. I've run this thing for 16 hours straight. It's good. What it is doing is getting warm though. And then it's taking air, it's running it through a warm compressor. It's then putting the air into our hose, which in my case is my tank. It's pressurizing it, which is then increasing the heat. But it's doing that right down at the compressor. Okay, so where the box of the compressor is, you've got a little pipe that comes out from there, which is the other end of this hose. And that is where a lot of compressors have a moisture trap. Right at the end of the compressor, the cheapy Mr. China compressor that my housemate's got on permanent loan, there's a moisture trap right at that end of the compressor. Now, in your science classes, however many years ago it was you were at school, or even, well, for most of you probably haven't seen the inside of a classroom, even if you're at school for a while. This 6-foot long hose is nowhere near as warm as the compressor. In fact, it's running along part of a tiled floor and then just up around the atmosphere here. This is essentially a condensing tube, especially if you've got one that's coiled. Okay, so what happens there is moisture that's formed from the air around us, just the general RH, relative humidity of the air, that will condense in here because this is colder than that is down there. So that's where it condenses. That then ends up coming out of this end of the tube. Now, if you don't have one of these in place, that bit of air flows up through here. I can't turn this upside down because I've got ink in it. Flows up through the air hole here, goes out along the air line. The air line is at the bottom of the airbrush. Okay, it goes along here and out through a tiny hole underneath the nozzle, which then rushes out through the hole around the needle. When that pulls out of the front, phrasing, if there is paint being allowed out of the needle by the gap left, out of the nozzle by the gap left by the needle coming back, it grabs it and in what's called, I believe, a Venturi effect, basically pulls the paint along. And so, what would happen if moisture got up through there is instead of air being pushed out the front, water gets pushed out the front. As a result, you end up with just a wet splat on the Mini, and that's not good. Because if you've got wet paint that you suddenly throw a load of water into, it's going to piss everywhere. So having the moisture trap here, which basically fills this area up with moisture until you press this little needle, which then releases the moisture this way, is key. Now, I almost never get moisture in there. But better safe than sorry when you're working on someone's commission, when you're working on some like OSL at the final stage of something, whatever it is that you're doing, it's super important to have that there. At this end, not that end. The only thing I don't like about it is it does make my entire airbrush assembly feel like some hipster's fucking super vape. That's the bit I don't like. But it's fine. Do not buy a cheap one. Brother, this was £6 from Green Stuff World. Honestly, it's fine. It's never, ever failed. Lots of myths, like I say, with airbrushing. And what works for me won't necessarily work for you. It's the same as anything else. It's a personal feeling. Yeah, not a... Oh, I see. Right. I mean, maybe not that cheap. But, you know. It's a Venturi effect. It's what makes spar, jets, and bubbles, wing, and pulls. There you go. What did I say? Did I say Venturi? I thought I did. Thank you for confirming if that's what I said. Thank you for clarifying if it's what I didn't. I have no idea what I'm looking at here. Any of you guys got links to a good one? For this, like I said, I got mine off of eBay from Green Stuff World because I was making a Green Stuff World order. I'd strongly recommend as well, anyone that has a tank on their compressor, get one of these. It's a little quick release valve, also from Green Stuff World. I think it's about £7. Basically, if you've got a tank, when you take your airbrush off to clean it or whatever midway through, maybe you've got to get a blockage out, this stops any air coming out and it keeps the pressure in the tank. Goes in nice and easy. You can use this to reduce the amount of air going through. I don't tend to, because using something like that to help you out, if you need it, great, go for it. A lot of airbrushes now have one here. I really don't like that. Well, it's sort of here, I suppose, rather than in the cap. I'd much rather people just put a bit more practice in and got the control, because that's going to make you a better artist anyway than having these little mechanical aids. But certainly, there's only a few times where you don't, for my style of painting at least, there's only a few times where you won't use most of the pressure that you've got anyway. Rocky, desperate to see me paint some tie. It's a good list. It's a good list. It's 10 minis for a strike team unit. That's decent. It's a couple of broadsides. They're not cheap. Oh, they're like... let's have a look. Also, good for you on using Smile from Amazon. Yeah, that looks like exactly the one that I use. If you don't have any Teflon tape or PTFE tape, it's currently called. Did I say currently? It's because I'm reading something off screen. Basically, Teflon tape, PTFE tape, whatever. It's super thin tape. You can see it in this joint just here, and you can see it in this joint just here. Helps to get a perfect seal. You basically wrap it around the joint, screw it in there, and it compresses down nice and easily, giving you a solid seal on that. No, man, I totally get it. Go for it. You do what you need to do. I've got no affiliation to Green Stuff World or any particular loyalty to them. I tend to buy their products from Element Games now, or Just Play. Right, so there's our light sources on here. Got the top bits to do. It's difficult to make these much larger. This is going to be the main source of light on the... Sorry, you can't see it. I'm gesturing off screen to the furnace, so that's fine. But these can be a little bit more diffuse and hit more of an area. They're kind of uplighters, but we can certainly spill that out over the sides quite a lot. We're working from a massive distance as far as my airbrush work goes. Just to keep that nice soft diffusion at the moment. We're going to start amping this the fuck up in a bit though. So currently we're working on like the outer edges of where this light would affect. And then as we establish those, we can start to come in and get right underneath that. You have to do underneath that as well. You can brighten up that center section as we get closer to the actual source of the light, which obviously is the brightest point. So you see where we're going with this. I think at some point what I'm going to do is I'm going to gloss varnish all of this, like everything we've done, and then work on some shadows with some black ink, not like acrylic ink, but like a ink wash kind of ink, because we need to get that definition in there, and we need to keep it looking dark. We're going to keep most of it looking dark through contrast with bright light. So we give the effect of it being darker than the paint actually is by making other elements of the Mini much brighter, pushing everything back into the shadow just a little bit more. Right, so that's the light sources on that. We've got one more light source to use. How much compressors? So you can get compressors anywhere from 100 quid, including airbrushes and a tank and so on and so on, all the way through to my compressor, which was tankless and around 130, 150 quid, all the way up to £400 for a running silent tank compressor and so on. Right. The advantage to having a tank is that it keeps a slightly more consistent pressure. Excuse me. Is it necessary? Obviously not, because I'm not using one. Is it something that's useful? Yeah. Yeah, it is. It also helps stop the airbrush having to use so much sort of power, because it will fill up the tank and pressurize the tank. And there's a gauge in the tank. When the tank gets to a certain pressure, the airbrush turns back on the compressor, fires a load more air in there to equalize that back out to where you wanted it set. And it turns itself off. So it can increase the longevity of the compressor. If it's so useful, why do you not use a tank? Because this particular compressor is designed predominantly not for painters. It's designed for people in like nail salons and stuff like that. And in that kind of service industry, you are relying on volume of clients, right? This is a massive tangent, so bear with. But you're relying on having a seat filled with a client, getting their nails done, say 90% of the day, right? Which means that this will be running all the time in that kind of environment where you'll have to start from scratch every single time with that client. And so I took something that's designed for that kind of environment, that's where it's most often seen, because I knew it would be reliable. And like I say, I've had this on for 16 hours at a stretch. Like, in one day, it's run for 16 hours constantly, and it's not failed me. It is a fucking workhorse. Now, there are downsides to having a tank. The first thing is you've got to clean the tank, and most people forget this. If you've got an airbrush compressor with a tank, and you've not done this yet, disconnect your airbrush from it, take it to the sink, and not the fucking, like, nice porcelain, shiny bathroom sink. Go to, like, your utility room with the fucking nasty-ass sink that never gets cleaned or whatever. Underneath your tank, there'll be a little screw, or a bolt, or something. Be ready. This is gonna be gross. Undo that, and you'll see a load of water coming out. And I'll say water as a very generous term. Technically speaking, it's water, but it's going to be full of rust and gunk and shit. It's going to stink. And if you don't do that, what will happen is that will sit in your tank and it will slowly corrode it from the inside. And then what will happen is, instead of you doing that in the sink, it will do that all over the floor. And you're not going to like that. How does it take to build up? You'll be fine 3 times, dude. You'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. But it's all dependent on you and where you are. I would start by doing it once a month. Okay? See how it's like. If you need to increase that or decrease that, then you'll know. Same as when you get a new car. You know, you check your fluids every month. Do I need to check it more often? No. Cool, we're okay. We can do it in like 2 months' time, 6 months' time, whatever. But you've got to kind of base it on your own situation, your own circumstances, and you've got to learn from it. So be aware. I'm going to spray the inside of this as well, just in case we decide to do a lot of work on this. We may as well set up the foundation. Now, Jim Martin asked if this is appreciated. Yes, absolutely, mate. 100%. This is appreciated. Notice how we're trying to restrict our light that could be coming around this area. We want to keep it on here. The light can't go back on itself. That doesn't happen. So now let's reconstruct our diorama and look at where our light will interact with the rest of our mini. So we're kind of doing this with it, and we'll use the back corner, the back there. So that goes on something like that. So that light hits this side of our fan. So we need to get a light source in across here. So we'll start off with that. We're doing the easy ones first. You check your fluids every month. I mean, you should, to begin with, like I said. So Big Takes the Farm once a year, and it was on 24 hours a day with 300 PSI in it. Fair. Just reminded me I checked fluids on my car. Cheers. Hey, we're here for a full service, mate. Sounds like you might need a full service too. Now I know Jay should do a car maintenance channel too, because we ain't good at that either. Fuck's sake, guys. Come on. Well, if you check your fluids more than that, then you might need to. You might need to. If it's serving you well, that's good. If it ain't broke, all that jazz. Alright, so here we are feathering that white onto there. That's where our light source is hitting it. We've come out a little bit farther on both sides. That's totally fine. We're also going to just, and this is not necessarily where the light would be, but we're just going to come in a little bit over the top there, because I want that bit to be a bit more interesting. Okay, that's all. So this is what the viewer's going to see from the angle that we present it to the map. There you are. If it moves, it shouldn't. Duct tape. If it doesn't move, it should. WD-40. Like it. Welcome to Jake's Painting, Nails and Car Streaming Services. Don't forget you get lunch included in that. We cook as well. So Hey, we're multi-talented. And sometimes not even talented. Right, this goes on the very front of this. And we are... Let's look at our base. We are looking at that being about there. And this being about there. So we're at a distance of about an inch away. So I reckon our light would hit all of the fronts of these with enough angles coming in, glowing, sort of finishing just towards the edges of those areas. All the front of this, and then a nice corridor all the way down here. That's what we're looking at. Mohawk said that about my ex-wife. She wasn't broke. Just got annoyed. Fucking hell. If it ain't broke, you might need to add, yeah, if you don't watch Mohawk Motors, brilliant. Okay, so let's work on this. Is the most important part, because this is the entire point of our mini, right? What we didn't check was the vertical distance. So that is kind of there. Line up. So there's a little bit of sprue here. So you need to line up the bottom of this with the bottom of this. So that's why the bases aren't quite in line, before anyone asks. So about that distance. So I reckon we would get some nice shadows here, but a little bit of light down here as well. So we'll start with that and carefully bring that up a little bit with some white. And remember, guys, this is fine for what we're doing now. It's going to go very wrong in a minute, because after we've done this step, we are going to paint a lot of the areas that we've highlighted white with a base coat in some metals, some like various colors on our forgot his name. Lenny. Lenny. He's going to need to get some paint on him, because I want the warm temperature parts, the lit up parts, to still have the suggestions of the colour that they would normally be in real light underneath. And that's why we're making our white areas slightly larger than they should be, because we're also going to come back in using all of the darker areas after we've painted those parts with the same shadow colours before we then apply our light colours to it. So we've got a lot of... Jay should start doing relationship advice too. I think it would really round out the offering. You know I'm divorced, right? Like, I'm the last person that should give that advice. In that case, it was broke. We did fix it. Mohawk Wrestling. Mohawk meditates. Oh, Mohawk mediates. Mohawk mediates with wrestling. Definitely. So... you know... Got a missus though. I do. Her name's Jackie, and she's extremely nice. We get on really, really well. Yeah, I like her a lot. She's cool. Right, that not ideal. Let's just feather that out. I wanted to try and avoid some light there, so we'll just do that for now, and then we'll do the lights, and then we'll come back in with the shadows and really take those light bits away. I would hope you get on well. Yeah, Mohawk masticates. Try not to on stream, but you know. Now let's do up here. So we want to keep this area in shadow. So again, we're just using our thumb and the glove to block it off. So this area is going to get bright. Yeah, one of the best things about Jackie is that she totally understands all of the nerd shit that I do. She doesn't play 40k. She used to play War Machine or Hordes, or Warmer Hordes, I guess is the combined fucking name for. Jay's Valentine card, I like you a lot, you're cool. I'm just going to punch you in the arm and run away. Go with the classic, you know? So that bit's nice and bright. So yeah, she gets it, and that's really good. She also understands the issues I have. So, most impressive thing I find in airbrushing is that you know where the paint is going to end up. Yeah. I mean, usually where I point the airbrush. So everyone's got issues. We've all got our own issues. Mine are slightly different to some. I have a constant headache. Like a literal, unceasing, constant headache. It never goes away. And that is from a very old injury from wrestling. And we started out, after that had happened, going down the route of taking all the painkillers. And I mean, like, all of the painkillers. Didn't you do that in a wrestling thing? Yeah, I fell off a ladder in a ladder match. And basically landed on my head after 15 feet. It was not fun. Suma Mini, cheers for the follow and welcome to the stream. And now, instead of painkillers, which I found were basically destroying me, I was on diazepam and tramadol, heavy doses of both. And the diazepam literally just fucking annihilates you. You don't give a fuck at all. Even about the fact, it's like that thing in Fight Club, you know, I found myself not caring about anything apart from the fact I didn't care about anything. It's kind of like that end of the scale with diazepam. So, ergotherapy I've never heard of, but I do have, I have a shiatsu massage very rarely when I need some relief, like when I need to get rid of that pain for a bit, we can do that. It's very, because of the area they have to massage, it's my neck and it's like the top vertebra. You need to be real fucking good. And it costs a lot. So I can't afford to do it often. But so my method of dealing with it is no longer a pharmaceutical one. It's a push the pain to the back of your fucking head and ignore it and fight it every single day and don't give in, because you're not going to fucking lose. You're never going to lose to the pain. You're going to beat the pain. You're going to beat the pain every fucking day of the rest of your fucking life, god damn it, because you're the fucking boss and it can suck a dick. And that's the attitude that you have to have. It's just like, that pain can do one. And the best way for me to do that is to be super busy. Oh shit. Fish, that's horrible. Damn. Ogrekin, how you doing? Wow, that's talk about unprofessional. So yeah, my way of dealing is to be super busy. So I work all the fucking time. Need to be busy, love being busy. And right, now we're gonna work on lighting. See, we've already got a little bit of overspray heading down there, but that overspray, we need to not be behind these areas. These would block that light going through. So we're looking at basically lighting up this pathway over to him. So in here, but certainly him from only this angle. This has got to be it. So we're not moving the airbrush around too much, because he needs to create his own shadows, right? But yes, like I was saying, so I basically am just busy all the time, and she understands that maybe when she sends me a text or whatever, I'm just not going to reply to it for a few hours. She's never like super clingy or anything like that. What it does mean is that when we are together, I am with her, and that is my number one sort of concern and like focus is on our time together. So I don't look at my phone. It's all about us having a good time. You're not worried with light of sight on that one, are you? On this? No. Oaken, surgery complete. Typing with one hand and desperately need a cuppa. Shit, dude, what? Oh, wait, this is your, is it carpal tunnel? Sorry if I've got that wrong. She can also just jump on and you'll see the message. I mean, that one time when I didn't, I was drinking, so, you know. Thanks for bringing that up. Got it right. Hopefully, mate, that sorts you out. Right, what we're going to do here is going to taper our light source so it's wider at the front. And then sort of moves back in a little bit to a V. You need to keep it even both sides because we're going to centralize this to the reactor, the furnace. And it brightest at the front as well. So there we go. So there's... I mean, you can see that's the furnace going in there. And then... sort of like that. So you got Lenny just in front of the furnace. And then that's where the light would essentially be. Now we need to just make sure that whilst this has got to be accurate, it also needs to look cool. And so we've got a few more bits to do around Lenny and start to work in that light to the real focal points of him. I've also brushed some of this off with my thumb, so I have to come back in and re-hit some of that area, which is a pain. I'm the same with my epilepsy. Why should I let a condition change my life? Absolutely, bro. Beat it every day. Kick the shit out of it. Win that fight. No give up. No surrender. It's fine to lose a battle, but never lose the war. You know, ever. But like I said, Jackie understands all this because she suffers from a lot of head injury. Well, it's not really injury, like a condition, basically. She has hemiplegic migraines. And unfortunately, regular migraines. Now, I suffer from the occasional migraine, and by that, I mean I get maybe... If I get more than 2 in a year, I get a bit worried that it might be something else. She gets, like, 2 a week. And when I get a migraine, I have to crawl into bed, put the covers over my head, shut my eyes, and pretend the world doesn't exist anymore. When she gets one, she goes to work and does a full day caring for people and teaching people with various disabilities. She is double hard to do that. Like, most people that have had a strong headache think they've had a migraine. They have no idea what a migraine is actually like. It's not just in the head. It's a full body experience when you've had a proper migraine. And she just owns that shit and gets on with it. So, you know, gonna have to put, Ogakin, that's... I mean, it makes sense because carpal tunnel, but you know, hopefully the route to recovery isn't so bad. Buffalo Bob, this is 17 and damn near a half years I've had this. Now it's natural. This is an unhealthy way of looking at it, but I know I'm still alive in the mornings because it hurts. Point Spartan, that's because you're a fucking boss. I used to have cluster migraines that often debilitating. Yep. Yeah, I've had some cluster headaches, but never a cluster migraine. And a cluster headache is bad enough because that is just unfun. Like, it's all behind your eyes and everything, and you're done for a bit. Right, this needs to emit a very small amount of light onto Lenny and Carl. And so we need to have, like, the furnace, massive bright light. You see the amount of effect that this has had on this part of our miniature, right? This cannot be as powerful a light as that. And so whilst that light has come back, in reality, most of this will still be in shadow because he's there, but that could have extended way back to here before it starts to taper out. Why they named Lenny and Carl is because James Mackenzie, who is a great Genius Occult player, calls his Abominant Lenny. And of course, it has to be Lenny and Carl. The Simpsons. It's got to be. It's just got to be, right? I thought my mild depression and ADHD was bad enough. You guys are fucking spraying to it. No. What I suffer from is no worse than what you suffer from. It's definitely not a who's the most fucked up contest, alright? It definitely isn't. Because whatever you're going through is personal to you. And it might be that I couldn't do what you do to get through it. Yeah? You're a fucking champ, dude. Getting through stuff like that, as someone that has suffered from depression, I don't suffer from it, has suffered from it. Anyone that lives with that shit on a daily and gets through is a fucking hero in my book. That's where this came from, the mohawk, was something needed to change. And the only thing I had control of at that time was my fucking hairstyle, so I gave myself a mohawk. That was it. Drope Mystic, that sounds horrible. So, right, back to this. This has to be a much smaller light source. This is one of those little like palm scanners in my head, and so therefore this needs to be just a little illumination. It'll be focused around the closest bits to it, which are the sledgehammer, the power hammer, Lenny's hand and claw, and some of Carl's back. And that's it. So keeping this in tight. Again, like before, we're expanding the white area of our pre-shade to go a little bit further because we're going to bring the shadows back in after we've painted these areas before we do our light sources. I'm not entirely certain I'm positive, but thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, shit, dude. You don't need to do that, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Jason, awesome, mate. Thank you. It's not the Suffering Olympics. Everyone's situation different, specific to them. Exactly that. Chip Douglas being gifted a sub. Let me give Chip his meeps. Chip might be here, actually. I know he lurks a lot, looking at the stats here. Damn, Chip. Say hi if you're about. If I wasn't painting miniatures and Goddaughter, I wouldn't be here today. I genuinely think that this saved my life. Meaty Hooks, the mohawk bit is really inspirational. I mean, it's the fucking afro. This is coming off after the stream. Oh, I've been so lazy getting rid of this. It's fucking done with. We're down to afro airbrushing today. Let's do this. We've got afro airbrushing. There we go. That's where we're at. Oakin, mate. I'd high-five the living fuck out of you right now. So would. All of you guys are great. Every one of you. And we all go through our own shit. And to all of us, it's probably the hardest thing. It's like a Q-tip with a mohawk. Brilliant. You fucker. Right, any other bits of this? So we know that this casts light on that. We know that this casts light on all of that. I'm pretty sure we've got all our light sources there. But now we've got this bit. And we know for a fact that these two lights are going to have a massive effect on what's going on here. I think they're close together. I think that goes in a bit more like that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the sort of basic layout of it. Bear with a sec, guys. So that light, if everything around it is dark, the light has more effect because there's no other competing sources of light to sort of push it into the background. And so that light would have an effect on this pillar, on this side of it, and on this side of it. That light probably wouldn't, But that light would have a massive effect here and a massive effect there. And I've forgotten a piece on here. We forgot the little blinky lights down there. Jay, your beard is fucking sick. It's doing alright. It's doing alright. The hobby hairdryer, by the way, is key to keeping this looking nice and straight. Afro airbrushing needs the afro power. Absolutely, I'll power it up. Even me, you sure? Even you, Jamartin. Jamartin, you are definitely the man. You're the man with the fucking bullshit tournament lists every fucking time you play a game, I'm sure, but you're definitely the man. So just sniping. Tiniest amount of paint, highest amount of pressure. Hit them up with that white ink. Boom. Just a nice little extra detail that we've got. Why not? Definitely not Des though. His doggo. Doggo, next level. You know. Hand is hurting, please don't. We'll do lefties. We'll do double lefties, which means we might need to do it like 2 or 3 times to try and hit the high 5 on that. Right, now we need to line these bits up. So they go like that. Let's work on this one first. That's going to hit the top of this, or is it? Let's get the heights right. It's not going to hit the top of that. Glad we did that. Okay. So, we're going to get a lot of this. Let's try it from a different angle. We're going to get the top of those pipes here. Sorry, now you guys can see what we're fucking talking about. Danny, I'll give you a demo in 1 sec. Let me just work this out, and then I'll be right with you, bro. So, behave. Come on, just trying to hold these in the right position. So we need to get a cocktail stick, as a pointer. So all of this area will start to be lit up. Okay, down to, let's say about here. Down to this part. All of that. Just coming up to here, I think. Not touching that so much, but just sort of getting to here. A little bit of a highlight that would just illuminate some of these letters, symbols, runes, whatever, by hand. We'd get the underside of this. Some of this. And what we haven't done, which we need to do, is the underside of these from there. So we've got that to do as well. And we're just going to focus on one light at a time. We'll come back and we'll do this one in a bit. But it's going to hit a lot of this top bend. It's going to hit some of this area. We can get a lot of interesting parts to that. Right, Danny, you said, can I have some practice? Try out your name on paper and getting good coverage on a bit of sprue. That's definitely both solid things. Do you still thin down inks? This ink is 10 drops of ink, 15 drops of flow improver, and 5 drops of water. We thin it a lot. Des is absolutely right. First thing you need to do, break it down, put it back together. Break it down, put it back together. Just do that. Yeah, very much this is my rifle, there are many like it, that kind of thing, right? Then with just water on some plain, like dark cards, so you can see it easier rather than white paper. Just do straight lines with just water. This is not going to show up very well because it's super thin ink. Just do lines, do dots, draw circles, do like lines of the letter E, write your name, you know, whatever you need to do to practice. You're basically looking at your movements and the lineup of the paint. Except in your case, again, just use water, not paint. Then break it down, put it back together again. Lots of that. All right, just do the undersides of these bits. I need to cover that area up. It's all about working towards... you know when you learn to drive, like getting the bite point of the clutch. Yeah, it's like the hardest thing for a minute. It's all about learning the bite point, essentially, of your airbrush, like where on the trigger you pull to get the right amount of paint coming out. How much pressure you need to just get paint coming out at the end. All that sort of thing. Also, Danny, I suggest going back to... On the VOD for this stream, it was probably about an hour and a half in, or just past that. And we did a big talk all about airbrushing, how the airbrush functions, why things work a certain way. I would definitely suggest watching that part of today's stream as a bit of a refresher course on what you're doing with the airbrush. It might have been just past that. I remember looking at the stream time and it being... Or was it about an hour in? Fuck, I'm sorry, mate. I can't remember. It was definitely after the first hour. Somewhere between the first hour and the second hour. Watch some of that. You'll find a big chat. I've got the compressor on the desk at one point. We're talking a lot about the manual workings of an airbrush and so on. So give that a shot. Right. Here we go. So, we're looking at the brightest point being here, essentially. Just around there. Because that's the bit that's closest to this light. So, we need to feather outwards this way quite a lot. And down. Looking at that kind of arc with it, and then start to build that up in intensity a touch. Remember, what we're looking to do is create a very bright point here and have that fading out as it progresses past, right? Just white paint gives a lighter color. Yes and no. What we're actually going to do something that's potentially is fucking catastrophic, right? And I'm going to paint a lot of the elements that we've lit up white in the colors that I would expect those areas to be. And then we're going to paint the OSL over the top of that. I bet you don't even have, like... I get the feeling, because you said manual transmission, you might live in the States. So you've probably got the stick on the wheel as well, haven't you? Because I think if you lived in the UK, you'd just say automatic. Right, so that's there. You can see we've got a few little bits of brighter areas down here. We're going to brush those in with highlights. Column change, that's called over here. And the shift is fucking hell, really? I've never driven a car that's had a shift on the wheel. I used to drive a Civic. Instead of having the gear shift in the usual place of like down there, the gear shift was kind of in front of me on the dash. And that took some getting used to. Like, really, really getting used to. I used to drive an automatic A6. That was so much fun. I got rid of it because fucking hell it was expensive. God almighty, just looking at a petrol station, it cost you 40 quid. And that was back when fuel was less than £1 a litre, you know. Yeah. Really old car here in the UK used to be stick shift until they moved it to where you find it now. Fair. I didn't realise. Friends, a really old car called a Humberhort. A gear shifter is on a steering column and it's manual. No way. God, that's got to be tough work. Right, just hitting the top parts of these. There we go. So we've now created a nice little shadow under each one of those. You can see there. So our light is coming in here. And by the way, these lights are going to be red. At a 5.8 V12 Merc. Fuck me. This was a V6. 2.6 litre V6, I think. So like half the engine size of that. And, oh my god, the fun I had. You get people at the lights trying to fucking give it one. And because it's an automatic, it's just in drive. You just put one hand on the ceiling and stamp on the pedal. You would do 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds. Which doesn't sound quick. But it is quite quick for a car that weighs like 2 tons. God almighty, it was hilarious. It had a double kickdown feature, but it only had 4 forward gears. So if you were doing 70 on the motorway and decided, fuck it, I really want to go fast now, you'd stamp on the pedal. It would do 70 to 100 in 3 seconds, and that top end acceleration was fucking madness in it. Oh, we have some nice cars but can't look after them, thus the channel was born. Hey, I could look after my car. I just gave it to somebody else to look after for some money because I couldn't afford to look after it. And my current car is a 14-year or so old Mondeo. I really like it. It's a solid car. It does the job for me really well. Right, so this goes in about there. So the closest point on it is right here. And we're going to get across the top of that panel. And we're going to get this side of this symbol. So we're going to go across here. We're going to do here. We're going to do some of this, but we're going to keep this really, really tight. And keep that kind of dark, as if the light's not quite strong enough down here, but it's sort of building up around here, because I want the light out of this to come out in kind of a shape like this. So here's the bulk of the light, here's the light bulb. I want the light to come out downwards at an angle. I think that'd be where it would be. Had an old Mondeo, mileage just shy of 200k when I got rid. Mate, mine's done 130,000 on the clock, and it just goes. It's super reliable. Flown through its MOT twice. I can't believe it, because all I do to look after it is just check on things and top up the odd bit of fluid. That's it. You know, it's fucking served me well. Yeah, big Mondeo fan now after driving this for a few years. Next car I get, I think, will be another Mondeo. Definitely surprise people at the lights. Yeah, I'll bet, dude. Right. So brightest point is going to be here, because this is literally right next to the light, yeah? But this bit I want in dark shadow, because the light is here. So it can't get to that point. So we're making sure when we airbrush it, we're keeping that aspect of it hidden from us. And just build that intensity up a little bit along here. And I think that's probably... Okay, and go out a little further. Notice, of course, we're leaving all of this bit dark, despite the fact that that's one of the brightest points on the Mini currently, because this is where the light is. Now let's work in from the side a bit. So we need this bit to be a little brighter. Not a lot, just a little. So we're looking at increasing not just the value that we put down, the value being how bright something is. Eventually coil packs went fuck me. What? I don't even know what a coil pack is, but that's a damn. So now we've increased the range of our light effect. And we're matching that now with this, because light is in a... It emanates through every degree possible. You know, Datsun. Yeah, exactly. Every now and again, we raid a channel, and the way people say your name occasionally makes me think they don't understand what a Datsun is. Oi! Buffalo Bob! What is this? Gifting 5 gift subs. And paying forward the gift they got from Janelle Sen, that says as well. So, absolute superstar, dude. Thank you very, very much. We've got subs going out to Big Edley. Sorry, dyslexia hit. Zadab, Nobby Curse, Ginger, Zingiber, and Flickstar. Love that guy. Great painter, good streamer. Occasional lurker in the chat as well. Top man. Top man. Heading off for the night, but you have been so awesome with the average advice and the mental stuff. Keep on being awesome. Hey, man. No. You're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you very much for joining the stream, mate. Really, really appreciate it. Good to have you here. What's that little... Gifter Leader 3. Oh, you are. Yeah. Go you. Legend. Peace out, bro. Record Channel's called it Datsun. For me, one of them is Mikey. He calls you Mr. Sundes, as if your name is Dat, as in like that, Sun, Des. I'm like, doesn't he know it's Datsun? As in, like, the car. I don't know. I think he's just taking your name and just, like, put a different swing on it. Because he must know, right? He must know. Does he? Right. I'm going to cover this section up a little bit while we do here. Because I want to limit the amount of light that goes down there. Talked about that earlier on. So we're just trying to hit that area for now, just underneath, just to help it along. We kept all this in shadow, or most of that in shadow. We had a little bit of overspray from earlier. I want to hit this area just a bit more. That's just going to help with our shape of things coming out. And this area just lightly. I'm going to clean the airbrush quickly. I think he does. I'm sure he does. Sure he does. So just cleaning the needle. This happens a lot with lighter coloured pigments. Usually they're not quite as fine a grind as some of the darker coloured ones. There are a few that are different. Siebenhain. I think I got that. Siebenhain. I'm looking at it, and for some reason in my head it was like the Siobhan chat we had the other day of how Siobhan is Siobhan. How do you clean your airbrush in between colours? I tend not to, but if I need to, like for this particular one, we did a massive step change from super dark to white. So I flushed it through with some water and cleaned the inside of the pot just using a bit of tissue. Yeah, just a quick wipe. But I normally don't. Normally because I'm creating blends, and I don't want there to be an absolute stop from one colour to the other, but just I want there to be that nice smooth transition from one colour to the other. If we're doing a big change, like I said, then we'll just sort of clean out the pot, flush through the nozzle a little bit. But that's just with water. Just with water. You don't need to use airbrush cleaner, and airbrush cleaner is not what people think it is. It's not a fucking magical solution that removes paint. It's not. So don't just use airbrush cleaner and go, my airbrush is now clean because I've put airbrush cleaner through my airbrush. Nah, bro. Nah. Nah. It's clear magic. It's fucking not magic. It's not. It's good. It's useful. It has its time and its place. I use it maybe once a month. I use water the rest of the time. Don't need airbrush cleaner. Right, I think we're set for our values on everything now. So once again, let's take our little base and assemble our diorama in the rough locations it belongs. So we've got that and that there. They're the two main parts of it. Like so. Yeah, they're lined up. We've got this little fan down there, and then we've got this bit in a bit of a funny angle. Let's correct that a touch. That goes in right up here. One sec. Just going to pop a bit of blue tack on the inside of this cup. I think all the cleaner is good for is when paint gets dry and stuck in the nozzle because it breaks down dry paint. It does. But proper airbrush maintenance involves you using a tool to clean that out. And so if you cleaned your airbrush properly, you won't ever need to use it. But it's good to have a little bit put through every now and again just to move any bits that you have missed. So I use it in my once a month like full breakdown and clean of the airbrush, essentially. That's when it gets brought out. Okay, so we might have fucked up a little bit with our light source, but I think we're okay. Goes on like so. And then he comes around there. I wanted some of that light on this bit, so we've still got this little bit to hit because we're trying to keep these like the depth of light for both those around the similar volume, so that just needs to influence this a little bit. But otherwise, that's the light map of what we've got. And obviously, you guys can't see this so well, and I can't move that camera around. I can move this one though. So what we'll do is we will unthread that from here. Please work. And there's some of the rest of the studio that you can see. Okay, I just need a little bit more slack. And here is Lenny. We should be able to do this. So there's Lenny and Carl from the back. You can see the reactor there. We've got all of the lights coming up here. There's my kitchen, by the way, somewhere over there in the background. And the blood angels we're painting. That's the light source from our reactor hitting Lenny. If we come around to this side, there's the mess that is my my cupboard. These are some brand new camera quick releases. That's the definitely paint water, by the way. You can see down here we've got that light source coming through nice and strong. We can even come around here and you see we've got that lined up perfectly with our Len just in the background there. So I think that's worked out pretty well. We've got a decent map of where the light is due to go. This one's slightly off, that needs to be turned just a touch to match that light. But there we go, I think we're pretty okay with that. Let's pop this right back up there, like so. Scary picture, and boom. So I think we've done okay on this. Now what we need to do is quickly clean the airbrush. Not going to be using that again for the rest of the day. We've got about an hour left in the stream. I sprayed Brewdog promo hand gel. Yeah, man. Yeah. Got myself some beers from them. Roaster Coaster, some Layer Cake. Oh, they do some fucking great stout. Later this month is the UK release of the Founders KBS, and I'm going hard on that. Gotta love that shit. It's so tasty. Do camera reception, look at the screen. God, that would be terrible. AJ, you mean you're so excited to see this in your hands when it's finished? Because this is your mini. You won this. It's yours. Ever see that End of the World beer? No, but I have got a bottle of Tactical Nuclear Penguin sat over there. Along with 5 bottles of this year's Bourbon County Barrel Stout. And a bottle of 2-year-old KBS. Came in stuffed stout. Oh, it was the... Wasn't it a squirrel? He said hard. Brilliant. Said I'm going to go hard on... Hey, the beer's good enough. It could happen, alright? Like, one drop and... Yeah, it also came with a share in the company, right? When you bought the beer was something like, I would say £125 or something. And then you basically got this stuffed squirrel. I'm reasonably sure it was a squirrel. But you also got 1 share in Brewdog. And they're a solid company to invest in, I think. Big. Right. Look at that. All that airbrushing, not a single drop of moisture in your moisture trap. Super useful. Boom. Compressor is off ski for a while. Right. Here's the bit where it's going to go very wrong. If it can go wrong now, right now, is where it's going to happen. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint in the areas that we have light the color... basically, going to paint all the details in around the light the way they would be if this was in full daylight. Voodoo Graphics, peace out, man. Thanks for dropping by. And then after I've done that, and this will be on the next stream, we will take the shadow colors that we've had, so the purples up to the blues, and we'll reintroduce those back in around some of that white light, and then what's left of those colors we will use a selection of like reds, oranges, yellows, right up to a bright kind of bone white to bring our light source back in. So all we've really done so far with the white paint that we've put down is show ourselves where our paint needs to go. And this could look fucking terrible. In fact, I'm going to say it right now. It's certainly going to be the hot garbage phase of the Mini to begin with. Actually, I might grab the airbrush back out to get some of the metallic bits done. Yeah, I think I will. I think that's going to be the easiest way to do this. So, let's grab some dark metallic. I'm going to use some gunmetal for all the metal bits. Certainly for Lenny and Carl, that is going to have to be hand painted. Yeah, let's do it this way. I'm kind of making this up as we go. There's usually a small amount of plan when we do what we do here, and sometimes the plan becomes a dumpster fire, and this might be one of those times, but we will give it a shot and see what happens. What's the worst, right? The worst is it goes horribly wrong, we paint over it. That's it. That's the worst that can happen, is you paint over it. Doesn't matter, right? So, Flow Improver, gunmetal. This stuff's great. Really, really good. So, obviously what I could have done is use this instead of the white. on all the metallic areas. That probably would have made sense, but we didn't, because this didn't occur to me at the time. Like we said, all of this is a very, 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 very new process to me. So let's get this in over here. Now, this is going to do a couple of different things for us. The first one is it's going to change how our OSL manifests in these areas, because this will still show through slightly. And after we've done all of the airbrush work, we've probably still got at least a full stream, if not two, on getting the light sources sorted out. Because once we've got the light sources sorted out, with just the airbrush part of it, we've then got to highlight and shadow all of this, and our highlights will be us painting the light source highlights on, rather than highlighting the flesh, highlighting the metal, and painting the shadow highlights on. So it's still going to be a lot of work past the airbrush. This isn't a abused by an airbrush style look that you might find out of certain painting studios. That's definitely not the case. Right, I'm not going to put this over the light itself, but we'll bring the metallic in around this area. Around all of this area. And we're going to highlight this up using the airbrush metal color chrome. So we've got something super shiny. But this is definitely the stage where it's going to look like garbage. However, this now has a different finish on it than he will have. So we'll get different ways of reflections, and that'll be mostly emphasized by our brushed work. Peace out, dude. Thanks for dropping by. And the way we present those highlights to people. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And if it all looks like shit, well, it all looks like shit, and we'll redo it. So we're just hitting the floor with this, not Lenny and Carl. And then these areas, obviously, metallic. But you can see what the plan is. Hopefully, we've lost focus because of all the movement about with the other cam. But there we go. Mr. Pedley's Fish Line Mini, awesome, dude. It was looking great when I last saw it. Fucking banging set of hazard stripes. Out of interest, did you say, can you do it in the Mohawk colours? Because you've got the blue and the pink of the miniatures part of our logo there. And then obviously hazard stripes. So I wonder if that was something that he just did or you asked for or whatever, but it looks great. Looks fucking banging. Not quite, but hazards were 100% asked for. Nice. Got to have hazards. There will be hazard stripes painted on this. On this panel at the front here, this one line, we're going to do hazard stripes on. Because it would make sense, right? And possibly this as well. Possibly that. Unsure. Right, the hammer is metal. So let's just turn that into a big lump of metal right now. And from this side as well. The hardest part, actually, we haven't done yet. The hardest part of the airbrushing is yet to come, and that is getting the shadows back in without taking away too much light. That's the hardest part. Putting the light effect on after that is going to be easy by comparison, because that paint will be so fucking thin. You will not have seen paint that thin in a long time. We're talking like 2 parts paint to 5 parts flow improver. Crazy thin. Crazy thin. This side we didn't do with the white light. Need to make sure we give this some love. And that'll come down from this side, so let's give a shadow to it as well. Like so. So that's the metal areas of that and the fan done. On this we've got loads. So obviously all of this area, metal. Same here. Surround both of these. God, I hope this works. If it does, then frankly, I am a genius, and it should win the Nobel Prize for scraping it by the skin of your arse cheeks in painting. Yep, that's fine. Right, these bits, this is metallic. And the hose. I think it's incredible what you achieved with an airbrush. Airbrushing is super simple. Once you have like the fundamentals down, and the biggest difference between what I do with an airbrush and what other artists do with an airbrush is that they're normally relieved when they finish the airbrush step, right? They're like, oh god, thank god that's done. I can just pick up a brush now and just get on with it. Whew. I don't have that sense. I don't dislike using the airbrush at all, obviously. I love using the airbrush. I don't dislike using the brush. I love that too. I like all parts of the process. And so I will start airbrushing bits that you wouldn't normally airbrush for a couple of reasons. One, it's quick, it's fun, I enjoy it. And two, it pushes me to be better with the airbrush and have more control. So like I said, I do things with an airbrush that most people don't, such as we've got a fully painted Mini. I just want to get a really smooth surface on this cape that we haven't done yet, so I airbrush the cape after everything else is painted. And people think that's fucking madness. Like, aren't you worried you'll get paint everything else? Well, it was the first couple of times I did this, but now I've had some practice, so no, I'm not worried. That's the way it goes for me. So it's a very unusual. I don't mean that in any way other than from the general artist community. Like when you airbrush your hair, hey man, I've got some good control on that now. You know, that's not usual either. You're right though. But I mean like the normal average miniature painter, and even some like YouTube and Twitch content creators, that they will stop using their airbrush way before I do. And use more traditional techniques, because I think at least part of it is just they're a little afraid of losing control with the airbrush, whereas I'm really not. I have that control down. We needed to do some OSL here as well, and we haven't. This is all metal though, so we can come in with this. There we go. Big difference between that and this thing. Big difference. Next time we need zenithal highlights on OSL. Mate, I'm not a fucking DBZ character, alright? can't OSL my hair. Besides which, I'm not sure anyone can afford them next time. Like, need some more. There's not much more left to do with this. And then we're looking at painting our boy over there. I don't even know what colour to do him. I think like regular flesh colours seems like a good idea. We could do like box art. He comes in a clamshell. That's kind of mostly flesh-ish with a slightly pinkish alien tint to it, and then bluish carapace. It goes from price exponentially. I mean, it just doubles. So doubles every time. That's exponential. You're right. Here. So, how are we going to paint Lenny? It's got to be a colour scheme that works well with the amount of light that we're going to put onto him. I don't know. I actually don't know. It's a tricky one. When you put the plastic card on the back of the furniture, you're going to paint the inside of the card, give it a glow, inside or a bit of depth. Yes. Although I'm genuinely thinking of leaving it open. Just to get that shot through from the back of that onto Lenny. Because the miniatures, the way they're judged is by photo submission, right? They can't come and have a look at your mini. So anything like that, I just don't want to show to the judges. I don't have to show to the judges. And that makes it slightly different to any other painting contest, because normally you're taking your mini somewhere, handing it to somebody, and if it's not perfect from one angle, they'll fucking know. Now I'm not saying I'm going to cut corners, because I'm not, but having the opportunity of taking a photograph through that to give us that view, I think is worth not putting it on. But equally, I'm not going to paint the entire inside of this. We'll just leave it black because it's going to be super dark in there. I'm not going to worry about doing OSL inside this because it's certainly not the kind of area that has enough detail to make that effect worth doing. But we might carefully crop down a picture so it is just through like this element of it. So synthwave. The only issue with that is if we do these super vibrant colours on him, they will react really badly to the light source going down on it. Remember, this guy is going to have a green light source coming in from here, illuminating some of the back parts of him. He's not going to get any light source coming in from here because that's too weak. Yeah, there's no reason for that to be powerful enough to illuminate any of him. But he's going to have a red to yellow to like bright bone light source coming in from the front. And so if we were to do him like magenta, we would get a really, really weird color. Because the whole point of what I'm doing now and putting these colors down is to stop us having a mini that's literally just shades of light. We want it to have some of its own color scheme that the light is interacting with. And so while I'd normally be quite happy to paint this guy with fucking yellow skin or something and make him one of the Simpsons, because why not? We can't. So we've got to go a little bit more muted. Another great color scheme for him. I'd love to see like Red Hulk style aberrants. I think they'd look brilliant like that. But because of what we're going to do to it afterwards, we can't really do it. Makes the whole thing a lot more difficult, which I like, because I think that's where like my painting points are going to come from. Is those little slightly artsy bits that we're doing here. Because currently all we've done is spent like nearly 3 hours airbrushing. That's it, and that's not enough to win any kind of painting contest ever. It fucking shouldn't be. What about Rampage? Which Rampage? Anytime someone says Rampage, I think of a wrestler I used to work with. And he was definitely a very fleshy colour. There was a lot of it as well. From Venom. Was that the white one in the film? No, that was Riot, right? Does he mean Carnage? Carnage is definitely red. But I know there were different symbiotes. Okay, yes, he does. Right. Because, yeah, there was one in the film. It wasn't a terrible film. It wasn't great. You know, it was entertaining, though. I didn't mind it. I think that was called Riot, which was the white one with the black eyes and stuff. He looked cool. He looked really, really cool. Big fan of that. That's some high quality H2O. Right, behave. But yeah, Carnage, again, they'd look great as that, but not in this case, because then we've got a little red going down on a mini that, if we put the red on, isn't going to work. Anti-Venom is the white symbiote created by now. That was only in the comic books, though. I'm talking about the film. But I love the Carnage arc. One of my favourite comic books ever is the Spider-Man... Oh, fuck, what was it called? Absolute Carnage, I think. It was a year's worth of comic books. It was a long story arc. Normally they're 6 months. This was a year's worth. And it's basically Spider-Man having the shit beaten out of him for a year. God almighty, it was brilliant. There was plenty of different bad guys in it. There was the Siren Lady, whose name I can never remember. Cloak and Dagger were in it. Yeah, I think it was called Absolute Carnage. Something like that. But fucking hell, great book. Great series. Okay. Now, all we need to do, really, is provide base colours and then values. That's it. So this is going to look like a terrible paint job for a while. So only when we start bringing the light back in, when we're changing things, and our final brushed highlights and brush shadows, where we're really changing things, that we need to worry about it. So essentially, what we're going to do to Lenny, not Larry, over here, is do the paint job you'd then expect someone to dip. It's going to look pretty jank, so don't expect miracles out of this. So let's start off with everyone's favourite. Are we going to paint him? Let's grab the fucking interwebs. Let's look for a colour scheme. GSC Abominant. Abominant. wait, we spelled it right as well. Jaeger, take care, bro. And Oakin, welcome back. Now we know they're the same person. You know, never ran at the same time. So here's the box art. God, that's not a good paint job, is it? It's not bad, but it's not a good paint job. But it's decent. It's an okay color scheme. A flesh tone, some blue elements. You know. Shut that door. But that's cool. That's an okay color scheme. Got somebody done pinky purple. Not bad. Fuck, that looks cool. We've got the blue one up here. Can't really use blue because we've got so much blue going on the rest of this diorama anyway. Haven't seen Timmy Spruce for a bit. There we go. I think he's probably working today. He gets every other Saturday off or something. They look cool. This is quite nice. Slightly different colour scheme to it. Still flesh tones, but bringing in some turquoises. We could do that. These look great. Yeah, that's a really nice colour scheme, actually. Okay, so turquoise is definitely an option. That's a really nice job of highlighting that blue. By the way, I made these for a charity event. Let's have a look at your Insta. Nice, bro. Very nice. I thought I was following you. Oh no, you put these all in the whip. Yeah, that's where I've seen it. Looking groovy, dude. Looking really, really groovy. Got your Dark Angels decks. Nice. Nice. My Death Watch stuff is being delivered by Amazon Logistics, which means at some point it'll be abandoned on my doorstep with no effort to ring the fucking bell. That's not a bad scheme. That's kind of edging towards that magenta we were talking about earlier on. I think that's too much, though. I think we're going to go with that jade scheme that we saw earlier on. Nothing else is really jumping out to me. We can't... There's a lot of colours we can't do. Like, we can't do this. That's too much pink. Too much purple for the yellow to go over. Same with that. Though I love the hazard stripes on the hammer. That's killer. Okay, so in that case, we're going to go with more like this scheme here. So here's a slightly better picture of what I believe is exactly the same person's mini. Yeah, it is. So that's the kind of scheme we're going to go with. So we've got mostly flesh tones and then some turquoises built in. So today we've got about 20 minutes or so, and then we're heading into the whip gallery. Right. In fact, let's have a look at my... No. I'm basically just looking for any kind of Element Games of shit my stuff, and here's a tracking reference. There we are. Arriving tomorrow. Okay, cool. That's fine then. Right. Chatty and flesh tone it is then for our skin tones. Worst mate could be delivered via my herpes. Yeah, exactly. Right. Fucking hell. They're so shit. My housemate ordered some clothes off the internet, and in the middle of summer on a hot day, the dozy cow that is my herpes delivery person around here decided the best place to put it was the recycling bin. Not in the garage where it was suggested to fucking leave it. And he had to wash all of his stuff twice before he could wear it. It was just... What kind of fuckwit have you got to be to... And it seems to be a universal thing as well. Like, it's not just Oh, my herpes delivery driver's terrible. It's just they all seem to be. Okay, let's get some paint on Lenny. Let's grab that screenshot again. So he's got like kiting arm here, and everything. So he's got 4 arms that are kiting. And this dude's basically kiting. Everything else is flesh. Hokey dokey do. So this is flesh. And if I was being really clever about this, what I could have done is glossed varnished everything and then matted Lenny. Now remember, we're only painting the parts of this that are exposed to light, so all of this will still be super dark. That's the plan. So they're also slow AF. If they can drop kick past or over fence from the curb. Ooh. I'd take the test just to have a go at playing parcel football. New Codex smell is definitely a thing as well. It's the new box smell for like a starter set. That's a good one. All that plastic crack. It's where you really hear someone go, "Yeah, I ordered this. It was delivered, no problem." Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when it's worked well, you never realise, and you never mention it. Right, that's a trouser leg. So here's skin. What colour should we do as trousers? Thinking like a neutral grey would be good. I'd love to do like orange jumpsuit, but I don't think it's gonna play. Tiny little bit of hair or something on him. He's got kiting ankles as well. Yeah, it's like a hard armoured part to him there. And the feet will probably be jade green, but we'll work the jade in over the flesh afterwards. So again, all we're looking for here is to get rough colours down, so that when we put our light sources, not our light sources, our light effect over this, we have something that has different shades to it in places. And a lot of this is going to be done through many, and I mean like many highlights after all the airbrush OSL has been done. That's where the majority of our effect is going to come from. This is kiting, right? Yeah. So when we get towards the darker elements, we will thin our paint a bit more. And it's going to look terrible. It just will. And we will just pop a little glaze over some of those. So we come back in with our shadows. We'll basically airbrush over some of this section to give us that nice sort of fade in. And then when we put our lights down afterwards, that should give us something that comes out relatively smooth. Notice the operative word there was, in fact there were two. One was should, one was relatively. There's going to be a lot of brushed shadows on these as well, I feel. Even small experiences like to be shared. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which paint is this? This is Chadian Flesh Tone from G-Dubs. There's Timmy Sprues. Now we know Timmy Sprues might be Jaeger. You know. Get quite excited when you see something being delivered by DPD. Fair. Is that So I used to have a post lady when I lived in my old place. That was stonkingly fit. So any time you had to sign for a parcel, that was a good morning. Right, so one side of the face in light, this side of the face in shadow. You end up getting quite a lot of light source on that. Light effect on that. Glaze that in. And what direction are our brushstrokes going for glazes? Come on, everyone. You all know this one now. We covered this extensively last stream, for fuck's sake. When you glaze, how'd you do it? My post lady looks like she could eat you. Okay. Okay. Finally got away for lunch. Got ham and cucumber sandwich. Nice. Very nice, dude. I do love a good cucumber sandwich. We've had an interesting stream, dude. Been pissing around with the effects of light and shadow. And now we're doing some really, really amateurish colouring in. Anti-clockwise, knob. Carefully, not quite. Yes, but no. The way you move your brush when you're glazing is from the point of least impact on the mini to the point of most impact on the mini. If you remember that rule, it's always true, not like towards the highlight or towards the shadow. Least to most impact. That rule is always true. Right. Hand. Clearly not metallic. Does look like something from Goonies. Oh god, that's a chest, not a shirt. He's wearing like half a dungaree. Awesome, he's got dungarees on. So this is chest muscle. As is this. Still got our jade to blend into this as well. It's a very interesting list coming through for the anniversary stream. Nice! Nice! So, quick recap on that. At the end of April, the last weekend of April, it is the stream's second birthday. It's actually Sunday the 25th is our second birthday. And what we're doing as our giveaway this year, last year we gave away a Chaos Knight. That was a custom sculpted Chaos Knight. It was fucking awesome. This year, we're letting you guys choose your prize. And the way we're doing it, ! Discord in the chat. Head on over, to the Streamiversary lists section and read the pinned post. Definitely read the pinned post. It tells you what to do. Basically, I want you guys to come up with a very small army list. So, something like 1 or 2 HQs, Troops Choice maybe 2, and then something from Elite's Fast Attack, Heavy Support, or Dedicated Transport. So something like this Tyrannid list. Got Neurothrope, some Warriors, some Swarms, and some Zone Thropes. Okay? That's the kind of list I want you guys to put together. Or, Chris, I would like 1 talent, please. Good luck, bro. I haven't got any to spare. So, the list that we've got, some of them are cool. Read through all of them. When you find one you like the look of, such as this. This is a good list. Warboss, some boys, some bike knobs. Give it a meep. So go and react meep to it. Boy Hydro, how you doing? Thanks for following. Okay. That's how you do it. That's how you vote. Very simple. It's load to list in here. Try to keep the chat out of this this stream. This is definitely never happening in Forge Breaker, by the way. This also is a bit of a piss take of a list. Like, even if that wins, that's not happening. Hey! So what pre-ordered box eradicates those drilled barrels, says Too Many Sprues. Thank you for that big robot cheer. Legend, mate. Thank you very, very much. But yeah, Fish, this list is a bit of a please paint half of my army for me. Character, 3 troops. I mean, hang on, that's already a bit of a no. Then some elites, twice. Then some fast attack. Then some heavy support. That's not happening. That's... Remember, it says in the pinned post, looking for quality paint jobs, not I need to rush through this in a weekend. Ogrekin! What are you doing? Thank you very much. Oh, one of them straight out. Didn't fit in. But go and find a list that you like the look of. Vote for it. Give it a meep. Again, try and keep this out of here. This is a good list. Except that is the list that is somewhere else in here. Here, for instance. But try and keep the chat in a general so we don't clutter this up. It's easier to find the army list at that point. Go and vote for the ones that you like. I think this is maybe a bit of a piss take one. A Greater Demon, that's already quite a painty project. Then adding a load of stuff to it, that's fine. But, you know, this one I prefer to it. Demon Prince, a Sorcerer, a couple of units of Noise Marines, done. A points cap's a great idea until someone goes, cool, as he now put a points cap in place, and Guardsmen are 5.5 points a unit. He said 500 points. I'd like you to paint me 90 Guardsmen and a Company Commander. So that doesn't work. So we've given it in the pinned thing, an example. HQ or 2, Troops Choice maybe 2. You know, don't take the piss. And then something from the other slots to go with it, such as this little list just here. Okay? I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. I thought it'd be very cool to let you guys choose your own prize. We're going to paint that over 2 days. That's going to be a stream, anniversary stream. And that'll be the last weekend of April, like I said. We're going to let this part of it run until the end of February. What we'll do is we'll take some of the highest voted lists out of this. And then when we're doing the Necronathon 2, which is the stream at the last weekend of February, we're painting the rest of my Necron army. It's not as many minis as the last one, but there's a lot more complicated big stuff going on in this. So it's going to be fun. We'll do the vote for which army we should buy in that stream, and then we can spend the next month working out how we're going to paint it, how we're going to base it, and so on. So, something very cool to look forward to. And we'll then raffle off this army. So someone is going to win. Well, a Baneblade, Company Command, some Sentinels and some troops. No. I mean, we could. We could, but really, we want to try and keep it to a detachment that someone can use in a game. And so here's the reason why, right? We did that Chaos Knight. It was fucking great. I loved it. I love my giant stompy robots. They're great. But it sat in Nick's cabinet for the better part of a year now, doing nothing. It's never seen a tabletop. It's that caged lion, you know? Ain't nothing sadder than a beast in a cage. Don't want that to happen again. So I'd rather have an army that someone can use in some small points games, like a little crusade or something, get some enjoyment out of. I think that's definitely the way forward. And that's why we're doing this. So something like that, yeah, the Baneblade's cool, but you're never going to put a Baneblade in a small points game because you have no CP. Yeah, Jamartin, that's absolutely not going to happen. 60 boys. I can paint 60 boys in a weekend. Can I paint 60 boys to a good quality? Like, we're looking at decent tabletop standard. Yeah, remember the Dark Angels that I painted? Yeah, that's the kind of standard we're looking for a finished product. It's got to be good to paint 60 boys nicely, it's going to take me more than a weekend. So that's not on the cards. So I need you guys to be a little bit sensible with your lists. I appreciate, troll every now and again if you feel you want to. But remember, I have final say on what gets picked. And there is not a meme that is stronger than me when it comes to what we're painting on the channel. Thinking of a guard detachment to go with the fist. I need a meat shield. Brilliant. You don't need a meat shield. You need heavy intercessors. Necrogold and Army Painted Dark Tone. Works really, really well for a bad guy gold. I love it. Alright, just paint all of that. We'll have to come in and manually add a lot of shadows to this because the airbrush won't be able to get into those areas because we've fixed everyone down. And the reason I glued him down, by the way, and I appreciate a few people might be thinking, why have you done that? It's because we need to make sure our light source stays in the same spot. If we hadn't glued him and kind of moved him around a little bit, then we'd potentially be fucking up our light sources all the time. And it's too important to make a mistake. So we'll make sure that that stays pretty much consistent by just making our life a little bit harder. It's a fine trade-off for me. Think combat patrol size, I mean, maybe a little larger than that, but nothing crazy. Scrublord, it really is, bro. It really, really is. I can't remember who recommended that, but it's the one that I picked up when I started using their washes. The Vallejo metallic set, Model Air metallic set is really, really good as well. Though, if I'm honest, I'd only buy that if you really needed to expand your metallic collection, because I find myself literally just using gunmetal, silver, and the black metal from it. The rest are kind of meh, as I have better colors from other companies. All right. This is now coming from this light source. But this is going to be green. And most of Gimp Boy down here, if we go back to our image, is that teal colour, so we won't bother painting any of him with flesh. Let's make sure we've done all of Lenny that is visible from the front. Pretty sure. Need to do the top of the hand, I guess, just in case. That can be rendered out in shadow easily enough. So they're going to watch 30 sweaty men run into each other. Nice. Oakin, see you in a bit. Got a thumb I couldn't quite see there before, so let's just do all of that. I'm assuming when he said see 30 sweaty men run into each other, he meant he's going to a supermarket on a Saturday afternoon. Because COVID be damned, what the fuck is wrong with people in supermarkets right now? Right. You must stay 2 meters distant from me, otherwise I will call the police, unless I feel that there might be a chance that you want to get the exact block of cheese that I wanted, and then I will climb over your cold, dead corpse to get to it. The fuck is wrong with people? You're saying rugby. I mean, it probably is rugby. But, you know, I'm trying to come up with some alternate and fun places he could be. And so I'm thinking Sainsbury's. You say rugby, I'm saying Sainsbury's. Okay, what time is it? It is... Oh, shit, it's time for the whip. It's time for the whip. We've just finished the flesh tone, so that's actually a good place to stop for now, I guess. But we're getting the idea of what is happening now. Hopefully you guys can see it. And you don't think I've completely lost my mind. But essentially, there is Lenny. We've got that light source coming in from there. You strike him. It's going to get a load of this base. We've got this casting some other light sources. Like so. I think back there. And then this little fan down there at the bottom. Just to be an extra point of interest on the base. Next stream is going to be more blocking in colour, more painting some of the colours that we've got down here. We're going to do some hazard stripes because we've got to. How can I not do hazard stripes on something, given the opportunity? And then if we get far enough through doing all of that, it will be actually applying some light sources to our miniature. So we're going to have to... No, it'll be adding the shadow back in. So the next stream is going to be a bit of an interesting one. Right now, though, we're going into the work in progress gallery. So exclamation point whip. Come on over to the Discord where, again, don't forget, start putting some army lists in our Streamiversary list channel. Got a couple in here I haven't seen yet. Farseer, Dire Avengers, Striking Scorpions. Oh, Resin. No. Great list. Resin. Just there. No. Sorry, Wu-Tang. Salamanders, Adrax, some Assault Intercessors, some Aggressors, some Eradicators. That's doable. That's super doable. Let's meet that one up. Right, whip time. So, first up, we've got Muad'Dib, £50 voucher spent. So this is Tim. He won the £50 voucher this month, shouting out Stronghold Games. He picked up a Psychomancer. I can't wait to get mine in the mail. Come on, he's got those Dark Angels data cards and some Blade Guard vets. Nice. Good deal. Good deal, dude. Congrats again. Drunk Mystic, more highlights as suggested. Also picked out the ghostly skulls inside the body. Not a job I enjoyed. That looks much nicer with that extra highlight on, man. Are you happy with it? That's the real question, right? Do you like it? I think that looks solid. Defo. Good. Good, I'm glad. Where are these ghostly skulls? Am I just being shit? Oh, fuck. There they are. Well, that looks much better. Definitely worth doing, man. Definitely worth it. You should see it now. Have you gone further? Fine cast for the wing. Got a list at the moment with the Thunderfire Cannon. That is not happening. I've put together one of those. I vowed I'd never put another one together again. I actually have. So putting base colors on. This is Tim again. His librarian. If I have anyone as a commission that requests fine cast, I tell them flat out, I'm charging you more than I would normally do because it's fine cast. And we're talking a large jump, like nearly twice the price of whatever it should be because it's fine cast. You got a Metal Thunderfire Cannon, nice, dude. Try an old Metal Penitent engine, mate. I've never painted one, but I've put one together. You know, the worst one that I had to put together was the metal Screaming Skull Thrower for my Tomb Kings way back in the day. Because that had 2 pins, 2 inches long in it, up both of the struts. So 1 inch up and 1 inch down to keep that motherfucker together. That was never coming apart. Yeah, we're not doing a resin TFC. Love this. Looking good, mate. Getting a Dark Angels Librarian on the go. Oh, wait. Is this for your... Is this for your Death Watch? Yeah, nice. Right, funky. Up next is this. Still to clean up all the plastic edges for gluing and spraying. What I suggest you do, dude, is clean them up before you get to this stage, because there'll be some mold lines you can't quite get to, and you're really going to want to. I've got this guy to paint along with the Lieutenant, the bikes, a load of other stuff. They're great minis. Really, really great minis. Can't wait to do it for my own force. Spleen. Kudos to Danny. I'll print you one for sending me these to start my first foray into this mad hobby. Oh, dude. Love it. You're going to enjoy painting that trim, mate. And that is one old ass Marine. Shit. I actually went home for lunch today, so I need to get going. Hey, peace out, bro. We'll see you tomorrow night, hopefully. Take care. Nice, man. Get some paint on them. Get some paint on them. And the Drunk Mystic. Oh, here we go. Now that's class. You need to put a little bit more shadow, I think, on the skulls at the front. Just on the underside of them. But that is fucking light years ahead of what you had before. You've used that contrast paint thing, haven't you? And I just noticed that there's a guy right in the crotch of this thing, which is weird. You very generously offered a few weeks ago. I have no idea about the hobby, so we'll see what happens. Nice! Have fun. Have fun. That's the absolute main thing. Must have fun. What goes on that arm? You've got an arm with a great big recess in it. It looks like something belongs on top of it. Is that armor or what? What's the deal with that? He's cool though, man. He is cool. I suggest though, and this is just personal preference, on these skulls, you pick out some highlights, but equally, on the bottoms of them, just go in with a little bit of a darker version of that color. So make something up, maybe some Warboss green and a little bit of blue, and play around with those till you get something that's nice. And just get into some of the recesses of them. So you see on this hand right at the front, they've sort of formed together a little bit. And I would probably just separate there with a nice recess shade down that line. What happens is you never have money again. That is very true. And it's you think it's bad buying the plastic crack. Wait till you're paying someone to paint it. Then you are broke as a mofo. But I'm loving it, dude. Good work. Daddy Tubbs, first Ultramarine done. Nice. Very nice. That looks decent, dude. Let's get in up close. Good job on the sword. I would go ever so slightly brighter with some of the convergence points of that lightning. Just a tiny extra highlight up. But, love it. Great work on the base. Looks like you might have followed a tutorial on how to incorporate your minis into the bases. The glowing eyes, really good. But I would probably have done a bit more of a gradient on the dark to light part of the lens. This part of it, epic. Fucking great job. But I would probably have done the lenses been a little darker to a little lighter. Just across the length of the lens. Base with hex rate GW is a base to build on. I've still separate lots of panels to be attached to. Nice, mate. Cool. Sounds like you got a plan. Spleen, it feels like that to begin with. It really feels like that to begin with, but honestly, once you get into it, it's super, super easy. Yeah, solid job, dude. Oh, we've got a bare ass shoulder. That needs something on it. Gotta have something there. And your rim job isn't particularly clean either. Looks like you've got a lot of your pumice or whatever you've used on it. If that happens, you can go in and shave it off with a knife and you just paint it black again. Should have put some black on the lightning too. Could have. No one's ever complained about a rim job before. Well, listen, mate. I have very high standards from a rim job. Right. Nothing but the best. No one likes it sloppy. No one likes it sloppy. But yeah, good work, mate. Love that Ultra. Really, really solid. Very clean. Top job. Apart from your base room. Adam Sandler. I'm far from a good painter. Sorry, Sadler, not Sandler. Far from a good painter, but just started on my Deathwing Knights. Need to improve so bad. Hey, man. It's all good. It's all good. One step at a time. So it looks like some contrast paint going down. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. We have just accepted a commission to do 10 of these and 10 normal Terminators. And then Ezekiel and Abaddon as Primaris conversions. They're going to look... Not Abaddon. The other Chaos guy. Azrael. That's it. As Primaris versions. So we're going to do definitely a how to paint Deathwing at some point in the future. It's going to be cool. Orquish, you better be quick, bro. You better be quick. I'm going to give you the count of 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. You hit the buzzer. That's it. Oh, just. In after the bell, mate. Sorry, gotta go. No, I've seen this on Insta as well. It's really, really sick. I like it a lot. Very moody. I love the dark shadows you've got in there. This is looking hot. And whatever that fucking, like, gun cannon thing is, super cool. There he is. That butt shot. Here you go. Light and shadow. That's kind of what we're going for on the entirety of this diorama. So we've got a lot of work to do. I do regret glue on the Storm Shield arms before starting painting. Yes. When they are assembled, they will not be attached. Liking it, man. Really, really good. Really good. See it on Insta. It's brilliant. One of the nicest things I've seen you paint. Top work. Right, so that was today's stream. We've done a lot of airbrush work today. We've done a lot of shadows today. We've done a lot of getting the values of our light down today, and we've started blocking in some of the hues, i.e. Lenny's basic skin tone. This will be done very roughly. So we've got some teal to build into this. We've got some like light green, dark green blue chitin to do. We've got some metallics to do, dungarees to do, all that kind of jazz before we can start getting any of our shadows back in, and then we can get all of our lights back in, and then we can shade and highlight the entire goddamn thing, because it's got to be done. Absolutely got to be done. I'm really looking forward to doing it though, and I'm hoping you guys are looking forward to seeing it on the stream, because I think it's going to be cool. But now it is time to pass the stream off to somebody else. Who is streaming? Who else Wargamer is streaming? Some Zench battle report in Sigma, so that can do one. Mitch's Den is on. We normally raid into him. The Hobby Room is on. They're doing a bonus weekend stream by the looks of it. Cool. And the Lindy's on. Let's make it Orky's on. She's doing a charity stream. Charity multi-stream. Indeed. Okay. Who should we raid? Who should we raid? Maladesh, you just came in at the finish. That's the important part. Any suggestions? Because if not, I will raid... Let's just have a look at the minifigures category and see what's going on. Let's see. Hobby time at Healy's. They've got a multi-stream. 12-hour stream they're doing. That could be fun. Don't know. Up to you. Is the epic 40k narrator on? No, he's in my follows list. He's not showing up. So. Spleen, take care, man. Let's make it Orky, says Horton Spartan. Okay. Any more votes for her or anyone else? She's cool. I like her. She's alright. I'm thinking Hobby Time and Heelys would be a good one to go for. Wait, I can't even see her in the miniature painting gallery now. Yeah, she's still on. Okay. Pro Jam, how you doing? Nobody's called in with another option, so we're going to go off to Let's Make It Orky. She's painting... I think this is Celeste. I think. Not entirely sure. As always, when we get there, spam those emotes. Get all the meeps in the stream. Let her viewers know where you've come from. And I will see you guys tomorrow night live at 9 p.m. right here. Peace out, everyone.